angle we've just seen there, but it is going to be TN Crumpets coming out on top in that 1v1, getting that bomb diffused, and Drenga Esports going 3-0 up on this map 5.
That was a huge run, wasn't it? If Annex White win that, all of a sudden 2-1, and our conversation might be slightly different to what we're about to have. 3-0 now. I know we saw Annex White go 5-0 up in that map number 2, but 3-0, and you got someone like TN Crumpets 5-0 as well. He's going to be working on those streaks. They've got to be careful that they do not keep getting rounds here. Yeah,
CJP was an interesting spot there and just ended up trying to get away whilst he was still weak, and it ended up being pretty easy for Crumpets to just pick him off. It was a interesting strat in a 1v1, just kind of sat there anticipating a chow, but you know, TN Crumpets 5-0 to get started. Are they going to continue on the same way?
I think CJP's defence is a bit tough, isn't he? Because where he was in that truck, if he slid out, there's no cover. So he was trying to probably slide across the cover, but he had to take the chow in the end, and he's took another chow and lost it to IDK.
Yeah, IDK finding the first blood, and it's looking good if you are Drenga right now. Makoof once again down the street with that AR in hand, taking down Lampy this time. Jackson trying to see if he can get that trade, but not able to do so just yet. But there's only Jackson and Infinity left up. Make it just. Infinity does manage to get that trade, but he needs to ace up, else Annex White are going to go 4-0 down.
He was able to get the first pick there and stay alive, be able to regen, reload his gun, but as soon as he slides back around the corner, he will get shut down.
I mean, we did see, like I say, I keep saying on that map too, it was the other way around, wasn't it? Annex White were the ones who found the first 5 rounds, but this time Drenga found 4. Obviously, Drenga did manage to get themselves back into that map too, but Annex Esports White did get over the line, but the way Drenga have been playing this, it's just, they need to get the playbook out, I think, Annex, at the minute. Maybe this is a map they've not played as much, maybe, as a team. You know, one that's been back around for as long.
More than 1 kill currently, and that definitely needs to change if they want to, you know, get to our grand finals later on.
Yeah, they are gonna have to go and win this offense now. Jackson not able to get off the mark just yet. SMG in his hand, just trying to gather a little bit of info. They do get control, and there's a big first blood this time for CJP. So for the first time in this map, we do see a bit of an advantage for Annex White. Bomb goes down quickly, a little bit more aggressive. The playbook's kind of gone out the window. They're just gone, let's fly down mid, get control. But this pinch from Makoof does spot Infinity. Infinity does see him though, manages to stay up for now. Crumpets goes to 6-0, and down goes Makoof. And we've got a 1v3, and it's just Crumpets left. Oh, finds the big pick. 1v2, Infinity and Jackson left up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge skill there from Team Crumpets to be able to actually get Hellstorms. Even if he does lose the round, he has been able to get a streak, which on a map like Rewind can be very important. You know, that B-bomb site is very open.
Yeah, exactly what Annex White needed in that round. They managed to, like I say, just kind of flood through mid, take control, get a little bit more aggressive, find the first blood, and it's their first round. They managed to get on the board. They do take Crumpets, give him his first death, but like you say, the kill streak's already there. Just came and chowed the wrong side of the street.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw in the losers semi-final match that Annex White played just before coming onto the stage for this one, that they went 5-3 down in that map 5, but it didn't deter them. They still were able to come back and win 3 on the bounce. I know it's not quite a 5-3 scoreline, no 5-3 curse yet, but who knows, Annex White, 1 at a time.
Yeah, we've seen this series so far. There's just been kind of momentum series, hasn't it? You know, it's such a game which is the momentum's so important, and this series has really highlighted that. So maybe if Annex White can find this next round here, maybe a little bit will shift in their favour. But Drenga will not want to let them back into this. They'll want to get it closed out, and they'll want that rematch with Project Vapor.
And I wonder what Drenga are doing here. It's a very slow, patient push from an offense. But I know what Makoof's doing. He's picking up the first 2 kills there, and it's going to put Infinity and CJP in a tricky spot. I don't know if Makoof knows that Infinity's here. Look, he's playing like he does.
He is playing like he does, but he just ends up sitting back there because this bomb is going to go down on this B side, so he's ready to watch the back. CJP seeing if he can take 1 member down, but this 2v4 is going to be tough. Nice setup from Drenga. Infinity going to see if he checks the close corner. Does maybe land some shots towards Heffron, but I don't think any of them do hit, and less than 30 seconds in the round. These guys have got to go. CJP doesn't anticipate IDK to be in that corner, and it's down to Infinity, who falls, and 1 round away now, Drenga, from booking their spot in grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, Makoof got 3 in that round, but it's that opening 2 that was really important there. Really opened up the map completely. Both players at B fall, both players in mid falling, and it just completely opened up the map. Infinity had to run back, you know, watch that burger streak, because if you're getting 2 kills in mid, normally going to go towards that A-bomb, but they completely wrapped it, went for that B-bomb, and it was left open.
Yeah, Makoof with that AR in his hand, I think a couple of times on this map, has just found a quick 2 towards the start of the round and just given that advantage massively. Going to need Jackson to get off the mark to see if Annex can stay in this one now, but they've got to win 5 rounds in a row, or else they will be going home.
Yeah, it's going to be a play through Gens here. Look, we've got 3 players, all 4 players in. It's going to be a quick one, but Drenger answer it with 3 kills. Jackson, this is the best time for you to get your first kill of the game. There it is. There's one. Almost snaps onto the second, but Drenger are going to be back against Project Vapor very shortly in our grand finals.
Oh, wow. What a series in the end. I mean, it deserved a map 5. We thought it might go that way. We heard some noise from Drenger at the end of that one. It's a gutting way to go out, you know, it wasn't a close S&D in the end. We maybe anticipated it being a little bit closer, but good performance this weekend, I guess, from the Annex Esports White guys. Forced them all the way, and Drenger setting up that rematch with Project Vapor in grand finals. I mean, they pushed them so close in the winners final. Are we going to see a similar thing when we go to grands?
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see something very similar from Drenger. I mean, I think, having a chat with a couple of the players, I think the map pool might be slightly different. We might see a couple bans that are slightly different from what we saw in that first series. But just quickly on Annex Y, we're going to talk a lot about Drenger very shortly. They might be a little bit disappointed with how they've played in some of the games this weekend, but they have been through a brawler today. They've been battling through that losers bracket for a long time, and you know, map 5, they did take Drenger very far. And you got to think Drenger also took Project Vapor to a map 5, so the fact they've done that is a good note for them, and that'll be good practice for a few of these players that I know will be attending champs.
Yeah, I know, and it's a team full of like very, very talented individuals, and they've come together for this weekend to see if they can kind of push on and have a good run. I mean, they've ended up with 3rd place. Maybe, I think most people would have probably anticipated before the weekend that they would be the ones in grand finals, and they might be the ones that give Project Vapor a game, but it is Drenger who have done that so far, found themselves the winners, and they're going back to have another go at them, and no reason why they can't go and get the job done.
Exactly that. And that's going to do us for this game. And that's going to do you for the weekend.
Oh yeah, that's my last cast of the weekend, yeah. It'll be Abuse and Joel coming back to cast the grand finals, which will be Project Vapor up against Drenger Esports. We'll see you after a little break.
I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, and let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? 'Cause I could try to figure it out. Oh no, oh no. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I'm only picking up what you're putting down. You'll be tripping, I don't know what about. So what's the problem right now? Okay, now hold up. Let me get something right off my chest. I've been meaning to read into it, time to put it to rest. Is it stress? Is it that I ain't answer your text? Don't you treat it like amnesia, you know I always forget. Stirring the pot real hot, watch how the plot thickens. Around the clock, tick-tock, need more than 20 seconds to get your attention before it's on to the next thing. And I'm over here again wondering, can I hold ya, hear your truth, pull you closer, talk it through.
Girl, you know that I'm the one that you can come and complain to. Your silhouette's amazing, but your brain is a maze too.
So can you help me find my way while I find something to say?
I know the arguing just augments everything going both ways, but baby, I can see it on your face.
Up and tossing, turning, staying up all night long. Up and calling, yearning, wondering what I did wrong. I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, and let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? 'Cause I keep trying to figure it out. Oh no, oh no. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I'm only picking up what you're putting down. You'll be tripping, I don't know what about. So what's the problem right now?
One more time and one more night without your hands, without me in your arms. Looking back, I wonder
gravity pull and it keeps me away. I would rather be here, lonely in space. I've made up my mind, I just wanna be free. I live my own life in a new galaxy. I wanna be weightless in the silence of the night sky. I wanna free fall into nothing at all. I'm taking the moment, starting all over. I wanna be free and live my own life in a new galaxy. Memories fade, it's easing my mind. I can finally breathe when I'm closing my eyes. I never realized what light years could do, but now I know I'm better off without you. I wanna be weightless in the silence of the night sky. I wanna free fall into nothing. Taking the moment, starting all over. I wanna be free and live my own life in a new galaxy. I'll never mistake the way you give me my faith. My body feels safe in your hands. Feel me fully fade. I'm light as a fire that I'm letting you escape. The stars still remember the fall to our face. I don't wanna wait. Every single part of me in flames. Tell me how it tastes. Lately you don't feel like yourself, and you kinda hate it. You suppress all of the thoughts in your head and say it's complicated. You hide your pain, but I can see it etched on your face. I know the feeling where you're okay, but you're barely breathing. Don't you walk away. Careful making wishes in the dark, dark. Can't be so limited. And besides, in the meantime, I'm just dreaming of tearing you apart. I'm in the deep, deep areas with the devil. Know the world can never get me on my level.
Hi Esports and welcome back to the Esports Hub Summer Showdown. We are here finally for our grand finals. You know, it's been a long day, it's been a long weekend, but we're finally here. How excited are we?
I'm very excited. I think we've got a rematch that we kind of all hoped for. The last game went to 3-2. We've had quite a lot of map 5s going into this. Is why we're nearly at 9 p.m. We've been nearly had in, 12 hours straight of Call of Duty. Like, that's a lot, and both of these teams have surely shown why they're some of the elite teams in this level of competition.
Oh yeah, 100%. How are you feeling, George? You know, we're finally here at the grand finals. Are you excited?
Of course. I'm excited and actually happy because it's the final game. Hopefully.
I feel like that's because obviously you said just in case it might be almost because it could be a bracket reset. We have no idea, but it's too soon to tell. The game's going to go how it goes. We've seen these before. It was a 3-2, so you know, I think we're in for a close game, but who knows? They've been here for a while. Fatigue could come into play, and those kind of aspects can really hinder a performance.
Yeah, it was a 3-2 in the last game, and it really came down to the last 2 rounds in the final S&D. Yeah. So I think Prod's probably going to hate for me for this, but I'm probably going to be manifesting a bracket reset here because I do think Drengar might just have that sort of momentum over them now. And that last game between the two sides, between Drengar and Vapor, like, that was a coin flip by the end of that game. We all thought it was going to be a 3-0 Vapor, but no. Drengar's showing that they can hang with the elite. In their last game, they showed they can handle a team that's like fighting back at them and really pushing them to the absolute limit. Drengar has had an incredibly long day. A lot of 3-2s, a lot of 3-1s. They've played a lot of COD today. So at this point, like, it's a case of will their resilience push through to a bracket reset, because that's what they're going to need to do in order to topple Vapor.
You know, I'm really happy Drengar are here. I feel like they've put in the work. They have proven themselves on so many different occasions that they deserve to be in this grand final. And I definitely think they're gonna give, you know, Project Vapor a run for their money. And I feel like we are in for, honestly, a sick grand final. Do you think? What do you think, George?
I think we will see the bracket reset.
Oh my days.
No, I think we will. I think the sleepiness for Project's going to kick in a little bit because they've been waiting around a bit for that, probably because of that last game. They might be getting a bit tired, a bit fatigued, now kicking in, and now they're trying to wake themselves up, so they may be a bit sleepy off the roll. And then that next match, I think right after the bracket reset, they'll destroy them.
Yeah, you know, we can have a little nosy at the brackets. We can see how it's kind of fared up during the winners bracket. You can see Project Vapor going through. And, you know, we were talking about, oh, they're stomping. They've not lost a map. We were hyping them up so much. And then against Drengar, believe it or not, they had a little struggle. And it was actually extremely close. And I'm glad. I feel like, you know, having that little bit of weakness helps them strategize more so that they can have a better chance of winning overall. But it also lets teams like Drengar, they have a chance as well. And I feel like that's what you need for a grand final performance.
I think if Drengar really want to push this, they really need to keep as consistent as they have been on hardpoint, because they've won the last 3 hardpoints. The only hardpoint they've dropped has been to Vapor in that first map, I guess. I do think we get a bracket reset as much as Product's going to have. I think we could be here as late until like midnight.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm not going to... We could be here till like midnight, and this is going to be a really long series. We could potentially see a 10-map affair, which is going to annoy a lot of people. It's most certainly going to be Drengar, because I think if we do go to that 10-map affair, Vapor haven't played as many games, so they're not going to be as worn out, and I think that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm kind of leaning towards a Vapor bracket reset 3-2.
Okay, I can see that like happening just for the fact that obviously we've seen Drengar, they've been playing for ages. They've been going for it. Whereas Vapor, they've had chance to take a break. They've been able to step back and kind of analyze how Drengar are playing and like, okay, hopefully this is a speculation by the way. Hopefully they've kind of been taking notes and figuring out what went wrong in their 3-2 game, and hopefully I want them to make it a 3-0.
There's a lot of tape on Drengar now because they've just played so much.
Yeah.
And again, Vapor, they came into this with so much like hype and aura around them, like they were the best team coming into it. They've been the best team throughout the tournament. You come into a team like that's not got that same firepower, it's not got the same sort of star like potential around them, and you nearly stumble to them. They're going to be wanting to get a little bit of retribution for that, because I think a little bit of brand image might have been hampered a little bit, because they're not this unkillable giant now. I think if that gets taken to a bracket reset, Spite might start playing a factor, and they start playing like Angry God almost. And they when you've got players with firepower that start playing with a bit of anger and a bit of passion, then that might just be that sort of second win that kicks them back into this. Say if we do go to like a midnight, where I think that's where I think Vapor just takes it for me. Is like if it goes to a bracket reset, they'll get that second win before Drengar do.
Okay, Georgie, are you hoping to see some anger, some kind of aggression going on in the crowd, or even just the teams themselves?
I'd just like to see the crowd get like proper loud for this, because after all, it is the grand
final. Any sort of
final.
animation from them would be nice.
Yeah, we haven't had much, really any, honestly. We've had a little bit for the last few games, especially from this section. But we do have the map set.
Oh, no, don't
leave
spoil
that for the casters.
maps.
Come on.
No,
We'll
don't
leave it for the
spoil the
casters.
maps.
We'll leave it for the casters.
That's not our job. But, our job is to promote things. So they are get on the socials. Get on the socials, get active, get everything going at the Esports Hub. I've been seeing loads of stuff being said all day through Twitch chat, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. People are actually getting really involved, and it's nice to see. And it's also really been helpful for keeping up with everything that's been going on, because obviously there's been millions of games, millions of performances, and just so much going on.
And I think it's important, like, we get this social aspect of it fully engaged as we head into the last few months of Black Ops 6, thanks to that announcement of the fresh new game. A lot more eyes are going to be on it coming into the later months of the year. Got a couple more tournaments, obviously, afterwards in the rest of the scene. So it's just good that we've actually got an active community going forward into the future of God.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, you're active in COD, aren't you? Well,
a little bit, yeah.
Compared to us,
I've only recently started competing at lowest level, but yeah.
Maybe this is a team.
My COD days ended after Ghosts.
Yeah, most people's COD ended after Ghosts, but yeah. Should be fun, though.
To be fair, after this, I feel like I've got a newfound love for Call of Duty, and I wasn't really expecting that, and especially talking to Heffy, coming onto the desk, talking about the Amateur Esports League. I was like, okay, this is actually something I could see myself getting into, but who knows? It's too soon to tell, and I don't know if my bank account would, appreciate that. But
that's fine.
Let's just get into the nitty-gritty. How are we feeling about this matchup as a whole? Like, is it what we expected? Was there anyone here that you didn't expect to see, or anyone you think should have been in their place?
Potentially either Mistaken Esports or one of the Annex teams. Mm-hmm. And again, Annex, like White coming top 3. It's kind of what we expected, but Drengar coming into like this, not a name I recognised from the last January clash. They've come into this, they've really put a statement out there. And I think win or lose today, they'll be going into the rest of the year, the rest of the tournaments in the year online and potentially on LAN as well, with a lot more momentum, a lot more like vigor to them as well, because again, online, you're not going to have the same pressures as a LAN environment. You're not going to be going till midnight. You'll be a lot fresher, more comfortable environments. You could potentially see these guys winning more tournaments as we go along through the rest of the year, heading into Black Ops 7.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I'm excited for Black Ops 7 to see the kind of tournaments. Hopefully, you might see us again. I'm hoping that's the vibe. So, George, is there anyone that you expected to see here, or is this exactly what you envisioned?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But no, just pretty much these two. At the end of the day, after like watching the first 3 games or both their matches, or finding out about their matches as well, just in the back of my mind, just went for it and went, yeah, probably these two.
Okay.
Vapor most expected, but Dringa, they've done a very good job to get it.
Drengar's win condition is going to be hard point. Like, if they can keep that consistency on a hard point there, that's going to be their win condition, because Search and Destroy and Control are both coin flips for both sides.
See, coming into this with very little Call of Duty knowledge has kind of worked in my favor, because I've been able to properly get into it, analyze how the players are playing compared to just, team names, team brands. And I did see one of the Mistaken lot being here. That's what, from everything I've heard, everything I've seen, I was like, okay, Mistaken are going to be here. But, I've been so impressed with Drengar and Vapor. They've been performing, obviously we know how Vapor's performing. They were absolutely dominating, and the only struggle they've really had is against Drengar. So, it's kind of worked out perfectly in that way.
We could be seeing a potentially second MVP performance from Julian as well, but it's not just Julian that's providing this MVP performance. Like, it's going to be a tough race for that as well. Like, Heptix has been playing out of his mind. Rush has been a really good addition to the squad, and then the entirety of Drengar, they all deserve it as well. So, again, this is all to play for. Like, this is going to be such an interesting game. I think the casters are going to love it. The crowd is going to love it. I hope to see the crowd get animated as we go along, and potentially, like, the production team might get a second wind if we get to a bracket reset as well. Who knows? I've manifested things today. Let's hope they don't. Let's hope they don't attack me when I get back in there. But yeah, I just want a really good game.
Yeah, you're on thin ice.
I'm on thin ice. I've been on thin ice all weekend.
But I feel like it's better to be like that. But I think it's time. I think we get into this grand final. It's finally here. We have Drengar Esports versus.
Who's your prediction before we go into it?
Let me finish my spiel.
We didn't think. We're not going to let you out of this.
Because you're going to try and throw it before.
I'm going to say we're going to throw it to our casters, and they're going to take you through this grand final.
That was quite the cop-out answer, I think, there, really. It's been brought over to us, so it is that time. It is that time of the weekend. It has been a pretty fantastic 2 days of Call of Duty. We've seen upsets, we've seen sort of expectations run through at the same time as well. Grand finals, it's a big one for us both, really. First time that we've both stepped up onto here, so no expectations, but I'm sure we'll try to do our best to see this one through. I'm going to just stick it straight on you. Give us a prediction, mate.
Prediction, we'll see some Call of Duty play today, and I mean, it's hard to look past Project Vapor, isn't it? Those players. You got the core 3 that have won the 2 LAN events we've had this year, well, the 2 LAN events we've had in the UK this year. Rush being added into that roster, it's not caused any issues. I know Callum was the one that won it with them before, at both the January Open and the Katana March event, but Rush has been an issue on that team. He's slotted straight in, and from the players actually speaking, they're very complimentary of Rush, and particularly his comms have really brought a lot to this team. But Drengar did push them.
They did indeed, and speaking about trying to push each other, we did see Map 1 was obviously an interesting pick here. It's one that you've told me that Vapor have actually picked. So we did see this earlier on in the day. Drengar did play against Project Vapor on red card. A little bit of a slamming, I think, is probably one of the words that we could use. We will then be heading off into a rewind. We did just see that one. It was where Annex did bow out of the tournament. It is then going to be a vault control. If needed, we will be heading off back to rewind once again, one that you mentioned that you're quite looking forward to for this weekend, to see that on a hard point. And then pretty much the most bang out sort of search and destroy map that we can see this weekend is potentially going to be a protocol. Obviously, from our understanding how this is going to work, that should Drengar take the series, we will be then off to a little interval and then obviously get set back up for the bracket reset. So don't go anywhere should that happen, of course, but still plenty of time between now and then. Map 1, any early thoughts?
Well, Vapor lost by over 100 points, which is the first time they've lost a hard point this weekend, and to lose by that much of a margin, that's kind of scores we're seeing in pool play and what Vapor is doing to other teams, and the fact Drengar beat them by over 100 points, but Vapor picked that map, so it isn't Drengar picking the map.
and we are going to pretty much find out pretty quickly. Players are all indeed loading in. Looks like fist pumps are going to get ready. Headsets are on heads. We are going to load into the first map of the grand finals. It is going to be back over on a red card. Interesting to see how this one is going to kick off. As soon as we get in, you guys will see it at the same time as well. So, bit of a bang out one. It's one of those ones that you want to try and play a little bit more fundamentally, get players straight through mid, try and make sure your rotations are fairly clear and concise. But I'm sure these guys have played enough of red card to be able to get underway. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting because Project Vapor were sat in the crowd watching Drengo play this red card hardpoint just moments ago, and something that the Annex White team did so well in this map against Drengo was picking up that P1 time. They were able to get 40 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see if Project Vapor watch that and going to take that into their gameplay today. And I'm sure it's grand finals time. I'm sure the crowd are going to get loud, and I'm sure some of these players are going to get loud. There is now £2,000 on the line, and we're going to see Red starting it off.
Indeed we are. So for those who are interested to know who Katana Land 7 is, if you've just joined, that is Mr. TN Crumpets. He is on Katana Land 7. The rest of the players all logged into their accounts, but it's going to be early time in favour of Drenga here, and it kills sort of going in favour of Project Vapor, so a bit of a chalk and cheese. But Makoof starting off with a big two-piece. I'm sure that the more that progresses, he'll get even louder, that we can all hear him coming through here. So, good start once again for Drenga. No time as of yet for Project Vapor. It is a case of Heptix and Rush getting involved as well. Heffron picking one of the members, which is going to be Julian, and Heptix sort of trying to bob and weave, trying to find as many members that he can do. He's going to try and get himself in and around time, but bit of a mixy start early doors.
Yeah, very mixed start. No team really able to get much control off this P1 hill, and actually no team's really got control of this P2 who have got Heffron in one of those spots. You want to be towards this stage looking in the back, but you've also got Rush popping 2 kills, Heptix on the time to contest by IDK. IDK almost winning that one. I've already heard IDK scream once as he's got a kill. I'm sure we're going to see that continue as the map goes on.
Yeah, indeed we are. So Heffron's going to try and fly in towards time. He is going to get taken out by Heptix, probably the MVP of the tournament so far from there. But Rush will pop 2 early doors. The crowd getting involved in that one. Red will find another as well, and an opportunity for Project Vapor to try and extend their way out here. A couple of members of Drenga are going to try and close into time. It is just going to be Julian that's going to be the only person in there. He's going to have some help from Rush and Red. They're going to try and deal with this wave that Drenga are trying to fly through. Makoof is going to fall to Julian, so managed to deal with that wave quite easily. I think Julian another 2-piece up on a 4 streak now. This is the Julian that we've expected coming into this tournament. Big gunfight on the way over to Nu. It's going to be Heptix that will find the kill. You'll be able to hear Rush in the background letting them know that he's got no opportunity to try and get through him. And I tell you what a great start this has been.
Yeah, I think the noise is going to be something that Project Vapor are really going to need to get up early. You know, we've already heard a few screams, particularly from Rush. You know, they've been sat in the stands for about an hour and a half watching the teams play. They're going to be really needing to get unmotivated quickly. Considering how close Drenga played them as well. You know, might have been playing on the heads a little bit coming into this best of 5, and Rush again, another 2-piece pre-firing for the 3rd, but Heptix got the kill just before he could.
Absolutely, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. We've still got the members of Drenga going to be spawning out the back, sort of having to try and funnel towards Nu. It is going to be Project Vapor. They've got to have the opportunity to try and make that way over towards Nu. Only 20 seconds of this hill remaining. Chance for them to try and bring it a little bit closer here, thinking towards Nu. We are going to have pretty much every single member of Drenga trying to come through old. Makoof has the pistol in hand, or managed to take out Julian. I'd like to see someone probably try and play through mid here. Everyone's trying to sort of just play up and around the staircases and around the hedges, and it will be probably Red that's going to be the man that's got it on the job to try and pick off as many people as he can. Big kill from Makoof there, and IDK following up with one of his own as well.
Yeah, I mean, that kill from Makoof there on the hill was huge, wasn't it? Not only are you shutting down the player that is so hot at the minute in Rush, but you're also breaking that hill time. And so far, the first 15 seconds are going your way, and looks like Project Vapor have kind of set up a pinch here. 2 kills really going, and that's the 3rd. It's all down to IDK, who also falls. So it's going to be all these players off spawn. It's now going to be a foot race to this noon, making sure the power spots are had, but there is a slight pinch coming on from Heffron.
Indeed there is. It is going to be Heffron that is going to be on the way round. A couple of members coming from the front of time as well. Drenga going to try and collapse onto time. Heffron will fall. It will be TN Crumpets that will then pick one up, which is going to be onto Julian. But an opportunity still here for Project Vapor to try and hold the last sort of 15 seconds or so. Another 2-piece from Heptix, something we've become quite accustomed to, I think, today. The amount of times that we've seen him. We witnessed the 13 streak off him this morning, so 3, they're rookie numbers for him. Off towards Nu, we are going to go. Drenga are going to be the team that are going to start early doors. 30 points down going into the last hill of the first rotation. An opportunity for them to claw back some much needed time here.
Yeah, think one of the opening points the standout things that I'm seeing already just from the first 4 hills is there was one man that really made a difference in Drenga winning this map as Hep goes on a 5 streak before falling there is IDK. He was there, star man, 37 kills he dropped against Vapor last time out. Currently sitting at 6 and 13.
He is, and it's just a case of we're on probably the more mixy hill. As soon as you say that, he'll pop 2 pieces for you. He heard you and he said, you know what, I've got an answer for you. IDK does then eventually fall. Red will find 2 of his own with the help of Heptix, and Julian will pick off Heffron, and that will be a 4 dead in favour of Project Vapor here. So a much more competitive one than what we saw when these 2 teams last met over on red card. It is going to be Julian and Rush picking up kills in favour of Project Vapor, but Julian 19 and 11, Heptix 15 and 8, Rush 15 and 13. Heptix has already got over a minute on time. He's trying to do everything he can to give the boys the best opportunity here, isn't he?
Yeah, and we've had a similar story across the whole weekend, especially today when we've seen these teams on main stage now that Hep, Rush and Julian have kind of been that core 3 this lane, and Red's kind of been a little bit behind the pack. You know, MVP in the last LAN at the Katana Open, but there's not much for him to do on the map, and he is doing what he can, almost spinning onto Makoof there. He is going to be able to get away with his life into Ticket and regen. But when you've got Julian on 22, you've got Hep and you've got Rush, who so far today have been dropping these kind of numbers in S&Ds. Red, absolutely frying.
He is. I was going to say, we've still got Julian on that 6 streak as it stands at the minute. Heffron putting himself on a 2 streak. Is down by 40 at the minute. By no means are they going to be out of this one, but with sort of 20 seconds left on towards this P1. They're going to have to try and think towards Nu. It's going to be on towards Red to try and deal with it. He's going to fall to Tea and Crumpets, and a bit of a mixy opportunities. Members of Drenga are going to be spawning out towards that P3 area, and it's going to be pretty much a foot race for them to get towards it. Vapor going to try and collapse onto time. We're hearing shouts from Red of 2 dead, as you can see on your screen. He is starting to get involved when the lights are on, when we're in the grand finals. An opportunity for Red to show what he can do.
Yeah, and I think that's something we do need to take knowledge of as well. Project Vapor, this is their 3rd time, 3 of their players, it's their 3rd time in the grand final on LAN this year. It's new to Russia, new to the Drenga boys, and that might play a part early on in our series here.
It's the first time we've really seen this Project Vapor team be quite animated across the weekend. It's grand final time. These are the opportunities where they can make people know and set the statements out there, especially for anybody out there in the scene as well that possibly thinks that they can come and take them on if there is another event at any time soon. You're having to try and deal with these. You're going to have to try and deal with Julian Cod, 28 and 13, 40 seconds on time, nearly trying to push that way through to nearly double the points here of what Drenga are going to be on. So last 10 seconds going in their favour. Hep is going to manage to take out Heffron, and it's just a consistent white feed at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've already rotated to this hill. We can see on the mini-map the padlock. That's where our new hill is going to be on the car park. And we can already see that's going to be Red soaking up that time. And look how far away these Drenga players are going to be pushing from. There's a couple coming from that P2 hill still, but there are a few spawning in the back as well. You do not want to be spawning in this back because, especially against someone like Julian, who's 30 and 14, it's a very easy to be spawn trapped in the back, and Project Vapor are starting to run away with it.
They are. Makoof is going to try and hold his own at the minute, but Julian once again finding another 2 with the help of Rush. It is just going to be Heffron out the back, and Rush will find 2. Julian again coming through, 6 untraded in the favour of Project Vapor here. It's going to be a chance for them to really surpass that 200-point mark. And this is a complete different roster from what we saw in the previous encounter, where people could have said that Drenga could have quite easily taken that. It's a kill feed predominantly once again in favour of Project Vapor. Naturally, you're not going to be able to win it here, but Julian's still on that 5 streak, 34 and 14. They cannot touch this man. As soon as I say that, curse to the commentator, and Tea and Crumpets will take him out. Off towards Nu, it looks like it's going to be the members of Project Vapor. It is going to be Rush and it is going to be Red. They're going to have to try and deal with that first wave.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Julian had the #1 KD in the last elite stage that we saw in EU, and he's proven it here now. He's over at 2 KD, so close to wrapping up this whole point with his help of his teammates as well. 20 points is needed, but IDK is able to pop 2, and for now, the hill is blue.
Indeed, it is only sort of 20 seconds needed for Project Vapor. It's going to have to be quite flawless, I think, from Drenga from this point onwards. Heptic and Rush both finding kills, replied with 2 kills of Drenga's own. Julian going to try and find anyone that he can underneath time. Tea and Crumpets popping a 2-piece. There's still 20 seconds to play for on this P4. It's going to be a case of, now that they can't win here, they're starting that transition over. Keep your eyes on your map. Red is leading the charge over towards this new point. They're probably going to try and maybe circle them a little bit bit here and try and keep them condensed into a certain area, trying to get as much map position as what they can do. Members of Drenga going to try and float through time, not going to manage to do so. Heptix will pop a big two-piece on the transition over towards New, pistol in hand. He'll find a third for you. 15 seconds still to play for.
Yeah, and look at this. They're going to be funneling Drenga through that car park. They're going to be spawning there. They're going to have to try and wrap through Ticket to get the player off the hill. Otherwise, the ARs are going to be too strong to get them down. But there's two from Julian. He's going to be looking for that third pistol out. He's not going to get it. Heptix is going to get one. The trade half run with a huge two, but he's going to be traded out by Rush, and there's 8 seconds needed. He's going to wait his time. Bide for his teammates to come with the reinforcements. It's Heptix through Ticket here with another 2. There's 3. It's just half run. Although McCook spawns right on top of him.
He is, and they're having to be sort of funneled through our Drenga here. Only 8 seconds needed for Project Vapor to take this first map. They managed to get on. It was instantly taken off there by Makoof. Heptix was the person who was going to be on time. It's going to get to a point where they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to try and go as quick as they can. Heffron flying towards that time. He will find one. Julian coming through with a trade. A couple of seconds still required for Project Vapor here. Map 1 going in favour of Project Vapor. What a reply that was to earlier.
Yeah, and you saw it there in Red's face. As soon as the camera panned to him, you saw the passion there. He's more than happy that they've won that map. And, you know, we did question when we got the map sent through to us why Vapor picked a map they got, you know, lost by over 100 points. But this is why they won by 100 points this time. And Julian, I mean, that was the Julian show, wasn't it, really?
It was. It speaks for itself. There was a reason why he did as well as what he did through that elite stage, sorry, as you mentioned earlier on. IDK having 16-31, not like him whatsoever this weekend, but have a look at that, Julian. 41 kill, 33 untraded. The traded kills are more than what anyone on that Drenga roster had.
Yeah, and I mean, this weekend, especially today, where we've seen a lot of Drenga Esports on the main stage, we're very complimentary of Heffron, very complimentary of IDK, but both players have really struggled here in the map 1-1, and that's really the big difference between the red card we saw in winners finals and the grand finals.
Yeah, exactly, and it's sort of, I don't know if it's that sort of ego boost for them, like we see that Drenga smoked them pretty much in that sort of winners final. Obviously they did come out on top, did Project Vapor, but they've answered that question by nearly 100-point deficit. That's exactly what they're going to want to see. So we are going to sort of take a couple of minutes, just get back up and running. Going to slow things down a little bit as well. It will be Rewind that is going to be the next map. But how many times did we see Rush pop a two-piece?
Yeah, that was an absurd two-piece, especially early on. You know, Rush was the first one that started getting loud, and you can see why he started off really hot. We had a bit of Julian, not too much, and then Red, you know, how this slow start. We see he's 2 and 7 a minute. You'll see the scoreboard when we get towards the end of the highlight reel, or what should we call it, the Julian reel. You know, he does pick it up and he starts getting loud, and you know, we've heard Red get loud at LAN events in the past, and when Red gets loud, it gets loud.
It does, and that's what I say. I think everyone here is expecting, whilst he glances up at the screen, probably can hear us mention his name a little bit. I'm sure after the conversations we've had with him today, he will want to try and answer a couple of people's questions about this performance that he's going to have, which I'm sure we're all going to believe that he can pull out of the bag for this grand finals. But like you say, it was just so impressive from Project Vapor here. This is the sort of roster that we've been bigging up all weekend, the one that we didn't expect to see falter and crack a little bit to the members of Drenga early doors, but we know what this Drenga roster holds on Search and Destroy. By no means are they out of this whatsoever.
No, and we saw that. I know we went to Rewind SD, which they had literally just off the back of in that previous series. They went all the way to map 5. That was their map 5 there, Rewind SD, and they were able to win 6-2. And to be honest, it was very convincing. I know the Project Vapor team and the Annex White team are 2 different teams, but the Annex White team has 4 talented players. This Project Vapor team is in a similar fashion as well.
They do, and like I say, just having a breeze through these highlights, it wasn't a case that Project Vapor tried to sort of be too pushy. Heffron trying to come through here and did manage to find one, but ultimately not going to do so. But what looked like it was going to be a little bit louder. Rush is enjoying that one there. It being in the, obviously being in the grand finals, it's a time for everybody to turn up. But like we say, off to Rewind. Obviously, you've not long casted a Rewind Search and Destroy. Are you a fan?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? And something that I'm going to be looking out for here is, are Drenga going to keep up that aggression? One thing they really had on Annex White there was their aggression. Annex White could not deal with it, especially towards that Burger Street, that AR. You had IDK pulling out the ARs. They had 3 ARs a lot of the time on this map. Project Vapor, they're going to be different players, and typically teams do not want to take gunfights to them, but I think Drenga are going to need to take the gunfights to Project Vapor, try and catch them off guard, especially in the early rounds. If they can get an early lead, I think Drenga will do a good job here.
Yeah, quite possibly. But on the sort of flip side of it, I think Rush is going to be someone that's going to be extremely busy on here. I imagine he's probably going to pull the SMG out in hand for this one, and I think that confidence will just be oozing through him being in the grand finals. I'm sure they'll give him the opportunity to try and make a couple of plays by himself. But like you say, Drenga by no means out of this one so far.
We were talking about this, man. I was having a chat with Heptix earlier after that winners finals game, and I don't think he's had an SD in this tournament yet where he's had less than 10 kills.
Could be worse, I guess.
It's not a bad stat line to have going into your grand final matchup, and we're going to see a bit of a slow but at the same time aggressive offensive push here from Drenga.
They are, and they're going to opt to try and stun themselves, try to go through the doors of Jens. Not going to manage to do so. On board with IDK at the minute. A couple of members of Vapor in and around him. Julian straight shooting, taking off the head of IDK there. And Rush is going to be trying to work his way in towards Zig. Going to unleash the chamber and get himself out of there. But Makoof is probably going to try and have him pinned here. A couple of members of Drenga are going to be close in and around this B point. But seemingly, they're just going to try and possibly play for a pick here. Opting to swap with the bomb carrier. But I tell you what, look at the position that Project Vapor have got here. They've got pretty much every angle of the map covered.
Number 4 is going to be TN Crumpets. Is our Katana Lance 7. He's been able to sneak through the line that has been set there. He's been able to sneak past. It was Red watching towards that Burger Street. He's able to get one. He spots Julian, but Julian's able to get away with his life. Red in the back, snaps onto the second. TN Crumpets will not want to be watching that one back in the highlight reel.
He won't indeed, and that is going to be all 4 that will fall. We did hear the big dead calm coming out of Red. That's the man that we're expecting to see. 1-0, quite simple there for Project Vapor. Managed to take advantage of sort of a higher map position, and Heptix is the one that's going to finish it off, getting himself on the board for this one.
Oh, did we see that? I think that was a few body shots there from Heptix. He is one that does like a body shot, and that was a very early body shot, considering he shot him in the back as well.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Playing
quite smart, this guy.
All that. You knew that you'd notice it. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, no. He's playing up to the cameras, bless him.
I don't think the camera was on him, was it?
The game's on him.
Very true, very true. So it is going to be Project Vapor opportunity to go 2-0 up in this round of Search and Destroy. Going to opt to try to play through Elephant here. T and Crumpets and Makoof are going to say, no, not today. Bomb is going to be down. It is going to be Julian sort of in and around that Elephant area. Going to try and pick off any member that he can do. Heffron just dropping the shoulder, trying to play as much information as what he can. By the looks of it, Red's also just going to have a bit of a slow gunfight with T and Crumpets here, potentially. Just going to try and play that information as best as what he can possibly do. IDK is going to find Julian. It's all on to Red now.
Yeah, 1 versus 3. He's able to get the first. He's still alive. No, he's only got 20 bullets left in that ammo though, but he's going to try and wrap round to this street where he knows there will be a player sat here because his teammate has died. It's going to be Makoof on that car. Somehow, Red is still alive, but look at the blue arrows. They're starting to collapse on him now. Red is trapped in the back. He will chow, and Hafra will be able to then pick up the kill in the end. Yeah,
smart there from Drenga. Just going to sort of try and stick together there. Not going to try and give Red the opportunity to pick off a couple of members. It was basically a case of, we'll sit here, you try chow towards us, you've got to get that bomb down. Heffron, he's actually pretty weak there at that point as well. It was straight shooting from Red, but it is Heffron that ultimately comes out on top, and it's around each.
I mean, you saw as well, that head glitch is very superior, especially when Red is quite literally stood in the open, but we saw Julian on that head glitch earlier, and it was Hafron again. He's giving him a shoulder, but he does not want to chow someone on that head glitch. It is a very good power spot, especially if you're going to be trying to play towards that B street.
Yeah, so let's see if nades are looking like they're going to come in. Well, I think it was Rush and it was Julian going to try and hit them across over towards the car, try to pick off a couple of members of Drenga. Not going to manage to do so. Rush playing his way in and around Zig. Getting, I didn't realise that you could be able to shoot through there, down to just 57 HP. Bomb is going to work its way somewhat into A. We've got Red just holding the sort of deep angle. It will be him and Makoof potentially going to face off at some point, so keep your eyes on that one. Left side of the map, we're going to have Heptix and Heffron potentially facing off, but Rush will be the one that gets us underway.
Yeah, Rush will get that first blood. Heffron will trade it out. It's now 3 versus 3, and whilst all that was going on, IDK was able to get the bomb plant down. So it's 30 seconds, and look at all this. Every single player is basically a 1v1 gunfight. IDK's getting the first. He sees Julian, he chows him. He will fall, and it's now a 1 versus 2 for Heffron.
Finish that very quickly. Heffron still in that 1 versus 2. Julian and Rush are going to be the ones who are going to chow towards him. Rush will find the kill, is going to go and defuse the bomb, and that will be around back on the board for Project Vapor there. Good retake from them. Probably a bit of a confidence booster as well, that obviously had the opportunity to be a little bit mixy, tried to play together, ultimately then came out on top. But 2-1, fairly even so far, isn't it?
Yeah, and like we said before the game, with the amount of S&D reps this Drenga roster have, especially in this tournament, they've been very confident that you don't want to be going down against them in S&D, because then you've got your back up against the wall. And 2-1 early on. That's the first round that we have seen won by the defensive side. The other 2 rounds did go to the offensive.
Oh, that's good observing from you, mate. Well done. That's good to know. So it is going to be, by the looks of it, the members of Vapor are going to be kicking off this offensive round here. No one sort of tried to play a really fast, aggressive B at this point. Everyone seems to sort of get themselves in and around A, and seemingly it's going to be no different this time. Bang out central happening for both teams. 2 members are going to fall for both of them. It is going to be T and Crumpets trying to chow towards him. Rush will find 2 of his own. He's on a 4 streak now, and it is just going to be down to Heffron, last member up. 2 versus 1, favour of Project Vapor once again. I imagine they're probably just going to try and hold hands. He's not going to give him the opportunity to do so. And another round on the board for Project Vapor.
And Rush just obliterated 3 there of the Drenga players in the 5-1 now. He's going to be trying to extend towards R60. He is the bomb carrier as well, so that could come into play if he keeps the streak going into future rounds, you know, getting those extra points from the plant of the bomb.
Yeah, no, before this I did call out Rush, and he's seemingly asking what they've tried to do for him. So 5-1 start from him so far on that 5 streak as well. So it's a case of he bounced back after dying early doors. Bit of a slow one across the board for everybody else after 4 rounds. Red the closest person to anybody else really on that map.
I was going to give Red the world of competition. He has a few slow S&Ds across the weekend, and he'll be the first person to admit that. By him 4-3 at the start of this S&D. Heptics as well, first blood.
And again, that man Rush picking up another as well onto Makoof. It was a case of, we asked Heptics earlier on to see if it's his job to go and find that first kill, but seemingly he just gets into gunfights earlier than what everybody else does. T and Crumpets will find Rush eventually and take him off of that 6 streak, and it is going to try and give the members of Drenga the chance to try and get something down, but Julian just going to try and play it a little bit slow, see if he can work his way around, but somehow IDK is going to slip through.
Yeah, and he's the one with the bomb, and he should be able to get at least 1 freebie potentially onto one of the players here. It's going to be Red that will get the free kill, and it's going to make Heptics turn around. Will Heptics be able to spot him? I think Heptics would have seen that cross potentially. You definitely know that there's a player there now. The communication is coming through from Julian, but IDK is able to somehow stay alive there, but he's been chased down, and that is Team Crumpets able to get the kill. Julian now in a 1... Julian falling. Heptics in a 1 versus 2. Stunned as well. 20 seconds on the clock, and he is going to fall. That's a very good retake there from Drenga to, you know, that flank was really big, but 2v2 down to 1v2 and closing out as well.
Yeah, I'm not too sure he's managed to slip through there. Obviously, we had Julian laid down by the truck. It would possibly be a case of just hopped over, gone and checked around the back to make sure that nobody's sort of holding the sort of deep spawn area. But like he's mentioned, a very good retake from the members of Drenga. They're not going to allow Project Vapor to try and extend their lead out. They are going to make it back to a respectable 3-2. But over on the side of Drenga, we are going to see T and Crumpets potentially start to heat up now. 5-4 for him now onto that 3 streak, and a chance for them to try and bring this one back even. But it is going to be Vapor that are going to be on this offense.
And as much as he did get the first blood in that last round, Heptics has really been the X factor for this Vapor team in the S&Ds, and so far we aren't seeing the same performance. Maybe it's from other players on this team taking that role in this rewind, but either way we're going to need to see him, you know, continue that form we've seen across the whole weekend.
We are indeed, and like you say, it's just one of those sort of feeler rounds at the minute. Nobody's wanted to be the first one to try and commit. Red seemingly in a gunfight with T and Crumpets. He's going to have another member of Drenga going to try and chow towards him. It's still T and Crumpets. It is going to be Heptics up on top burger in front of Makoof. Seemingly gunfight's going to try and happen across the map, but no one is yet going to fall. Bomb's going to work its way through into this sort of A-point area, and by the looks of it, it's going to be a case of Bomb is going to be down, and we are about to see pretty much a quick bang out members falling for both teams. It is going to be 2 versus 3 in favour. Well, it's actually being brought back even now. This could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, that is then going to really change the actual aspect of the round. Team Crumpets able to get onto a 5 streak before Julian shuts them down. It's now 1 versus 1. Julian versus Heffron, and the players are a bit closer than they probably imagine.
They are, and they're literally headbutting each other there, and Julian's going to be the one that's going to turn round first. I don't really understand how he's managed to get shot in the back there. I think the member of Drenga's probably ran up the corner not realising that he was probably stood there. Next thing you know, he's laid on the floor, and it's going to be a round in favour for the Project Vapor there. Not one that I'd expect Heffron to possibly lose.
No, and they've done really well there, Project Vapor, because they were down in a 2 versus 3 scenarios. They were outnumbered, but the kills coming through, and Julian able to clutch up in the 1 versus 2 and get an ace in that round.
Indeed, that's what I mean. Up on that 4 streak now, 4-2 in favour of Vapor. Once again, it is going to be Drenga going to try and possibly opt to play towards this B side. They're going to completely go against what I've just said there and get themselves tucked in towards blue. A couple of members of Vapor going to be inside. Rush is ready for Makoof to come through. You've got Julian looking down the lane. It's probably going to be a quick push out of Elephant here from IDK and the gang, but Red just ready, primed to pick off anyone that's going to try cross in front of him.
Yeah, and you know, that early pressure coming through, but it's slowed right down again from there. You know, Drenga trying with this bomb in hand to make the play work. IDK gets a big kill onto Red, but he's going to be instantly traded out by Julian.
That's what you need, isn't it? Those sort of instantaneous trades. You can't be allowing people to get the kill and try and get away with their life. 3 versus 2 in favour of Vapor here. Bomb going to be sort of working its way into mid. I don't know if they expect anyone to be able to pick it up just as it stands, but you'd imagine that they're going to try and do what they can. Heffron, a couple of taps into Julian there. It is going to be T and Crumpet's going to try and work his best what he can do into mid, not going to manage to do so. Julian will pick him up, and it's going to be basically Heffron fighting for his life. A couple of members challenge towards him, not going to matter, and you can see the confidence oozing out of the members of Project Vapor.
Yeah, I mean, every single corner he tried to turn, he was pre-phone, hoping that another player of that Project Vapor side would be there, but he just wasn't able to stick any of the pre-fire down, and Rush continuing this strong start to the map.
That's what I mean. He's got 1,100 damage for 8 so far, so that means he's getting help with the other members on the team as well, whether that be in the assist or at least giving them information as to where it goes. But what was pretty close early doors has now extended out to be quite favourable in front of what Vapor can do here. 6 streak for Julian. Had a bit of a slower start, has managed to claw his way back into this search and destroy. Rush on a 2 of his own. You're going to have Makoof challenge towards him. Julian and Rush, those 2 members that we were just speaking about, are going to find kills. It will be Rush that will fall to Heffron. Julian finding IDK. Heffron, last member up, will at least take out Heptics. So still in the situation, it's 2 versus 1. He's pretty much going to try and have to fight for his life, bobbing and weaving, trying to see if anyone's going to be close towards him. But maybe just a chance for the members of Vapor just to take sort of 20 seconds or so. But I think he's probably just had a read here. I don't know how close they're going to try. Chow towards him, not going to matter. 2-0 Vapor.
Yeah, Julian there with that kill at the end. I think he might have heard that glass break. We saw, the pain was still there. The glass has to break for you to walk through it, and I think that might have given the audio cue to Julian to turn around. 11-3.
You've had worse search and destroys, I guess, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, Julian's really turned up in this series. Something that we haven't seen as much throughout the weekend from Julian. It's been a little bit more of Hep and Rush, particularly in the S&Ds. But 11-3, Rush 9-4 as well, and Hep's had his feet up.
That's what I mean. It's about time that I think the boys have managed to drag him through. Like you say, Rush really turning up alongside Julian in that second map. So again, we're sort of falling back into that sort of expected outcome. It is going to be 2-0 to Project Vapor, and we're already in a position where this grand finals could be over pretty quickly should this vault control go in their favour. Backs against the wall now, really, from Drenga. They're going to have to reverse sweep just to try and keep themselves alive, just to at least get into the bracket reset. We'll wonder what's going through their minds at the minute.
Well, hopefully what's going through their minds is that winners final game, because in that winners final game they did go 2-0 down. It was the control that started their comeback against them and started to push them. Now, the only thing that is going against them is this Project Vapor team. Again, now, they are really up for it tonight. They know it's £2,000 on the line. They want that first prize money. They've seen those lovely trophies sat on the desk just in front of us.
They're firing on all cylinders, aren't they? I think every member is getting themselves involved. As you can see here, Rush and Julian really just took over that sort of later part of the search and destroy. Everyone just seemingly just trying to chow towards them and pretty much giving them free kills for a couple of times there. Probably not what the members of Drenga would have expected at all, but off to a vault control. Obviously, this can be one that's a little bit more mixy, but we have seen across the weekend people get put back into that sort of spawn trap, haven't we?
And where we've had so much Call of Duty over the course of the day and over the weekend, we've seen a vault control in the last series.
We have.
Drenga came out and played that vault control against Annex White, and to be honest, it was a bit of a blowout. You had someone like Jackson, double pause. They kept beat so quick, they gave it up, this Drenga side, and Project Vapor could do something very similar, I'm sure.
That's what I mean. They allowed a bit of a strong AR to sort of just get maybe into their heads a little bit and start to have that sort of takeover ability. So I'm sure they're not going to be able to afford, the time for Heptics especially to do that. We've seen what he can do to this team already earlier on. Obviously, the red card, he dropped nearly 40 just by himself, albeit they did lose it by nearly 100 points. But he was trying to do everything that he possibly could. But we are going to be heading off to this vault control. So basically what could happen should Project Vapor see this one out, they will take home the trophies, they will take home the money at the same time as well. But I'm sure Drenga are going to be putting up a fight for this one. Played a lot of Call of Duty today. These boys are not going to want to go home with the story of a 3-0.
No, and looking over at the boys a minute ago when we're loading into this map on that Drenga side, they're still smiling. They're having a laugh with their friends. So their heads aren't completely gone, and that's what they need for this game. If their heads were completely gone going into this game, it could be really bad. But they're going to try their very best. They're on the offensive side to start off with, which, on Vault is a bit hit or miss. You can have a really strong defensive side. The spawn trap is really good. But if you're able to get the kills early on and stack either of the points, the game can start to go out of control, but we are going to see 3 early kills, potentially 4 here, but IDK is going to opt to play his life instead.
It was a bit of a zigzag sort of kill feed. A couple of members falling for both teams. It was Rush that got us underway. He's going to manage to find another one and take him 2-1 early doors, managing to get involved in the engagement. It's going to be a case of he's just going to try and loiter around. Julian and Red both getting involved at the same time as well. And already Red's going to try and push up towards that spawn. He's going to have Heffron back there, but T and Crumpets will be the man that is going to take him out. Rush finding another one. Again, they're going to have the read there onto Makoof. Not going to manage to do so. But we've not seen any progression so far.
No, with only 39 seconds left on the clock as well, we are going to see Drenga now finally touch that B point. It's going to be Heffron pushed out towards the B point, and 3 kills going in the feed with Makoof in this power spot, this top R position. They are spawning Project Vapor all the way out the back of that P4 building, and Project Vapor going to try and retake. But Makoof is shooting 2 kills in this R building already on a 4 streak, making that 5. He's going for the 6, but Rush is going to be able to trade him out eventually.
He is at IDK on that 4 streak. He's going to take that up to 5 now as well. I don't really know how they allowed him to try and get as much time as they're through. He's done. Whilst we're watching that top vault fight, you can see that the B point has already been captured. Drenga coming out on all cylinders, 19 playing 13. After sort of only around 40 seconds or so, there was no progression. And then just like that, after a couple of gunfights, that B point is going to be done. And it is just going to be 2 ticks required on towards A. They've got the time to play with. They've got the lives to play with. Drenga will be looking to close this one out soon.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is down to the players of Heffron and Makoof, pushing that B point by themselves. Makoof getting out into that R and getting 5 kills in total. Heffron just soaking up the point, and then IDK and T and Crumpets, who is our Katana Land 7, if you are just joining us. They helped, didn't they? They got the ticks in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a bit of an interesting choice of play here from Drenga. They're going to try and opt to try and dwindle a couple of the lives down of Project Vapor here before they go and opt to try and stop the clock. Only a little bit of progression through that second tick of A at the minute. Trades coming in for both teams. IDK 9-4 start from him so far, and it is going to be T and Crumpets also positive. Rush will come through Cat, manage to take out one. IDK will answer, but Rush will pick up another of his own. He is starting to pretty much do everything that he can for Project Vapor to keep them alive. 9 lives playing 5. IDK with a quick flick onto Heptics. Only 4 lives remain, and it's search and destroy here for Project Vapor.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a bit of a TDM now. There's only 3 lives remaining. I mean, if you're Drenga, you want to try and get as many ticks as possible. IDK 13-4, by the way. We picked him after that map 1. He had a very slow map 1 for this team, and without going to see any more ticks, which is probably good if you're Project Vapor. You've only conceded 4 ticks. You might have lost the round, but Project Vapor know in the back of their heads they can also do the same thing.
That's the IDK that we've seen this weekend. That's the one that he'll be expecting of himself in a grand final. He's nearly killed half the lobby by himself in 1 round. How impressive is that?
I mean, I think the kills are going to be very close between IDK and the whole of that Project Vapor team. It's probably only 5 or 6 kills off. So, yeah, this is what we need. And the same out these players we picked up, IDK, Heffron this weekend have really been difference makers. We know how good Makoof is. We know how good T and Crumpets is. It's just about those 2 players. And if IDK is dropping 13-4 on a 5 spree as well, which, on the defensive side now, he could try and play for those streaks. Hellstorm can be very useful, especially when defending this B control point.
Yeah, I imagine he'll probably try and play a little bit slower, try and maybe ask the boys to try and work towards him. He's going to have a couple of members actually flying through Cat. Red's going to be the opposite side of time. Heptics Heptics going to find one onto Heffron. Julian will find one of his own, but we've seen that sort of under-vault play, and it will be Julian picking up another quick progression over towards this B point. It's one of those plays that seems to catch teams out. Every team seems to do it, but nobody ever seems to expect it unless somebody goes, and by that point, they're possibly dead already. IDK and Makoof starting to heat up as well. 15 and 5 from IDK now. Progression coming through, 2 ticks already done over towards B. Heffron and Makoof finding kills. It's going to be back and forward on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the lives are pretty even still, but there is a minute on the clock still. With that 2 ticks coming in early on from Project Vapor, you know, if you're on the point, it pauses that game clock at the top of your screen. They need 1 more tick at B to start thinking about that A point, but I think they'll probably start to think about this A point before. Look at the pressure on the mini-map. There are 3 players coming in from this catwalk side of the map, and there's number 5 is going to be Red. He's already pushed that in spawn, and the Heptics, look, they're both in the 2 buildings, P4 and Top Art, and they can really spawn these kills in the back now.
Yeah, everyone seems to be playing for these sort of spawn kills at the minute. We can see Heptics over towards this art point. He's going to have IDK going to try and chal underneath him. He's going to turn round and take out Heptics. It will be Julian that's going to try and stop the clock, put some time in towards this B sort of tick. He is going to have half of the progression done. No time until I just say that. They are going to start to work this A point now. A pinch coming in. It is going to be T and Crumpets, and by the looks of it, Makoof with the help of IDK coming through. 2 kills going in their favour, trying to get all of the members of Project Vapor off of this time, and that is going to be a slow 20 seconds remaining. This is the Drenga that we wanted to see.
Yeah, the risk you run if you're Project Vapor there, you've tried to play for spawn kills, you've had 2 players doing it, but by doing so, you've got no players on the point, the stick comes through there. You've got no players on the point, and the game clock's going to keep going down. If they lose those gunfights, which they did, it does give Drenga a chance to, you know, regain map control. 9 seconds left. That's a huge 2 coming from IDK. 22 and 8, by the way. He has almost got more kills than the rest of his teammates.
That's what I mean. He's having a fantastic control here. No time going to be able to be brought back on for Project Vapor. 2-0 Drenga. Good offense, good defense from them. They've clearly got both sides of that game for them. But like you say, IDK 22 and 9. What?
Yeah, and this 2-piece right at the end was a very important 2-piece because they were capturing that B point. They were only about half a tick away from, you know, extending that clock to an extra minute. Not necessarily that Project Vapor would have gone on to win it, but it would have given them a good chance to.
That's what I mean. And they've got the opportunity to pretty much get this one done straight away if they can capture all of the points here or dwindle all of the lives of Project Vapor down. Over on their side, it is Julian, it is Rush, those 2 people that we keep on mentioning that are having the sort of better maps. Not one that we're expecting from Heptics here, but like we just mentioned, they're doing the same play once again. We've got someone over towards Top Art, possibly, but the read is a little bit slow. They've managed to come through, trade kills coming in for both teams, but it's a predominantly blue feed, but trades once again. Both teams are going to try and keep it sort of zigzag in the kill feed. Rush will find one. It is going to be Rush, it is going to be Heffron challing off towards each other with the help of Makoof to come with Heffron, and they are going to have 3 dead. Heptics the only member up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important 3-piece there coming through from Drenga. And, you know, they're able to get on that point. They're slowing that clock down. They might not be able to get more ticks, although the car coming in, now there's 2 players dead. It's only going to be down to Julian and Rush on this first push. Where is Julian on the map? He's going to try and flank through mid. Or is he going to
have to be quick? He's got this progression over towards his B point pretty much all done already. He's going to opt to actually try and run away from time here, not going to try and give the life to the members of Drenga. He is going to allow that B point to be captured and going to try and opt to play for the spawners. But I don't think they realise that they've still got Makoof out of spawn here. By the looks of it, Rush is going to try and find him. He is going to start to work his way through. Makoof playing through this vault. A couple of members in and around where he is, but I don't think they're expecting him to come out this pool side. T and Crumpet's going to have to try and play through this P2 as well, seeing if any of the members of Project Vapor are going to be in and around spawn. Is going to spot one in Heptics to the big one to Red as well, and they can quickly try and jump on here unless Julian's got something to say about it.
I mean, Julian's getting tagged up in the back as well. The comms going to come through. He is tagged up. IDK will finally get that kill. And there's a very slow 3 dead there in the feed if you are Drenga. So you just need to, you know, get another wave of kills. You have got time to work. You've got 1:15. And the lives are almost and now exactly even until Heptics picks up a big 2 at Cat. And he started to heat up. We picked him out here. His double neg going into his round. He's now 14-9 on a 3 spree. Confidence there to try and rip Makoof off that heady.
That's what I mean. And Makoof will find that kill onto him. Heffron and IDK will also find ones as well. Going to start this progression on towards A. They want to get this one done here. 13 lives, playing 12 on board with IDK. He is killing anything that moves at the minute. It is going to be T and Crumpets finding Heptic's going to try and chow towards Julian underneath. Not going to manage to do so. 11 playing 10, still 56 on the clock. One of the ticks is going to be done towards A, and this next one is on its way as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sub-players there, IDK and T and Crumpets. 49 combined kills, make that 50 now in our opening 2, almost 3 complete rounds, and the lives are back even 8-8. But no one is on that point, 45 seconds. If this point is played a little bit, even if it's not captured, you know, we could see it come down to lives, but 7 versus 7 now, Joel.
That's what I mean. Drengo have sort of given Project Vapor an opportunity to get themselves back into this round. They are going to try and possibly just try and play the cut-offs and bank on that they're going to take the lives, but Rush and Red are going to answer back with 2 of their own. They are starting this progression through this third tick. Rush is going to hop out of Cat. Heptix will find another one as well. He's going to try and drop down into Volt, and seemingly we are pretty much in a round of search and destroy. Advantage going to be for Vapor in the lives. Rush will pick off Makoof. 5 versus 2. Last member is going to be Heffron. Going to possibly try and pick off any member he can. Probably not going to try and give the kill. He is going to fall to Julian, and a round on the board for Project Vapor.
Yeah, I
think they needed that one.
Yeah, I think it's important that they won that round. You know, if they lost it, very obvious they would have lost that map as well. But not only did Dranger take them right to the end of this map, but they got 5 ticks. So even though they were losing the round in the end, 5 ticks. If we do go to round 5, if we do see Vapor take this next round, those ticks can be very important.
Absolutely, like you say, Heptic's starting to get back into his groove. 18 and 24 on the kills. Obviously the elims will be a little bit higher, but like I say, Project Vapor still got a little bit of work to do here. 31 and 17 from IDK, still massively leading the way in this lobby, but Heffron and Makoof really starting to struggle. Again, something that we're not expecting to see from those two, and naturally we are going to have to try and see how they're going to be able to bounce back from this one. IDK seemingly going to go through Cat pretty often. Julian and Rush, the 2 heavy hitters for Project Vapor, getting us underway.
So a huge 2 there though from Team Crumpets to even up the kills, but Rush getting 2 before being shut down by Red. Red did not have the confidence to be able to get that second kill, and I don't blame him, that was a ridiculous kill there from Rush, but we are going to see more of a typical A push here off the break. You know, 2 kills going through from either team now. The A point will be left ticking over just a bit, but look at this now. We're going to see Heptix just try and solo play towards this B point, try and get some map control here, but IDK will shut him down, and he's been shutting down almost everything that steps in front of him.
That's what I mean. Good little time here for Drenga potentially, but as soon as I say that, Rush, he's finding kills to the trophies now as well onto T and Crumpets. 23 lives, playing 20 in favour. Project Vapor, they've got this A tick done already. I imagine for the next sort of minute, we're probably going to see a little bit of team deathmatch, try and dwindle some lives down of each team. Keep your eyes, by the looks of it, onto Red. He's found a kill to Heffron. He's going to chow through
past him
up towards top. I don't know how he's managed to run past him. He's going to fly down. SMG in hand onto Makoof. Is going to get traded out by Heffron, but it looks like the members, unless I was going to say T and Crumpets can do so, we are going to have Julian now up in top art, and it's going to be a big ask. Only 2 members really out of spawn for Drenga. Vapor have got an opportunity here.
I mean, we saw Julian in top art in the control and Volt earlier on in the day, and he was on about a 7 spree by the end of it. He's already on 4, looking to try and get some more. He's got some info now onto Heffron, sat right below him. There it is. There's a 5 streak for Julian. Rush picking up 2. The lives are really falling away from Drenga here. A 10 life difference. 1 tick is coming through, and you're not quite seeing the stat yet, but they've got a minute 30 to work with. They're playing for the stats.
These heavy hitters of Project Vapor can bring them out of any situation, can't they? We've got Rush 31 and 19. We've got Julian 28 and 18, trying to do as much as what they can. Rush on a 5 streak at the minute, did find 2 before T and Crumpets took him out. There's 2 ticks already done. They've got a minute 24, 4 lives only remaining. Opportunity is going to come. We are going to be heading off to around 5 unless we see probably the most crazy thing that we've seen this weekend. It is going to be T and Crumpets underneath, gets taken out by that man Rush once again. Heptix will fall to Heffron, and still only 3 lives, but a minute on the clock. They're really up against it here.
Yeah, you kind of want, if you're Drenga, you would rather lose out on the lives here than give another tick towards Project Vapor, because then you have a slight chance of maybe having the preferred defensive round in that round number 5. But with how strong we are seeing some of the offenses here between the teams, who knows?
That's what I mean. From what looked like to be a bit of a tricky situation for Project Vapor, they are indeed going to be able to close out that round, and they are within 1 round of touching distance to be able to take home the trophies. Or can Drenga extend us at least out to that rewind hard point? It could genuinely go either way. IDK trying to do everything that he can, but like I mentioned a minute ago, the heavy hitters of Project Vapor are just taking over this map.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it in that round there, didn't you? We saw it was Red, first of all, was able to get into Art, get a couple of kills. As soon as Red fell in Art, Julian was straight in there. He was on a 5 streak, and they kept doing that, and they did not give Drenga a break in their own sport.
No, and it is going to actually be the members of Drenga that are going to be on defense here. So it was 2 rounds, so Project Vapor not going to be too worried about that offensive round because they've just managed to win one there. It will be Tea and Crumpets that's going to be getting us underway. Heptic's finding 2 of his own, 2 kills coming in for both teams.
Yeah, and we're going to see them start to think about this A point early on. 1 tick is almost through. There it is. The tick is coming through there. That is going to be Rush. Heptic's on this point. They're staying out on both sides. Both get winning their 1. They will get shut down by Team Crumpets coming through that catwalk, but Red straight away with that trade. But I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on this catwalk now from Drenga. They are spawning towards that P4 side of the map, so it's the quickest way they can get towards mid. But Makoof with 2 huge kills and is still alive, trying to push out towards that pool before falling there.
That's what I mean. There's going to be some really big kills coming through here. It is going to be IDK that will pick a couple off towards that P2. Heffron finding 2 of his own. Project Vapor, opportunity for Drenga here. Rush will find 1 to at least try and break their way out through this B street. Probably need to step on the gas and start motoring down just to at least stop this clock. 22 lives, playing 18 in favour of Drenga here. Good start for them so far in this one.
The concern here, if you're Drenga, is because you were worried about that A point and you had that catwalk pressure. I'm about to say that they gave up that B street, but they are able to get 3 kills and shut down that B street push. It is just Rush that is left alive, and he's just going to play his life, wait for his teammates to come back up. But look at this spawn trap they set up again. You've got player 3 and 2. Makoof, IDK have really pushed up towards that right side of the P2 here. It's going to be Heptic. He's going to be challenging him off their head. He's not an easy gunfight to win if you're Heptics, and Makoof's coming out on top. And look at that life difference. That was a 10 life difference, only 25 seconds left on the clock.
That's what I mean. Julian will at least find 2 to give themselves a chance to try and get through Cat, but 19 lives playing 8. Tea and Crumpets finding a nasty 2-piece. He was on a 4. IDK getting himself back involved in this one. 43 and 25. He's killed literally nearly 10, and that kills as well. They're not even EKIA. It's a case that they're going to be able to get themselves done on this one. 10 seconds remaining for Project Vapor to try and close something out. Are going to at least stop the clock on towards this A. They're going to give themselves the extra minute, but this is going to have to be the best round of Search and Destroy you'll ever see.
I mean, they've started it off pretty well. They've got 3 kills dead. They have slowed right down though. They aren't got on that B point yet. So if they can work a couple kills here, it's going to be Tea and Crumpets. They're on a little bit of a pinch through that vault. And there it is. There's the first one onto Red. And that's going to really hinder this push now. You've got 3 Project Vapor players left. 13 times Drenga can die before they lose this round, and I don't think we're going to be able to see them all rush falls as well. It's Heptics and Julian in 2 versus 12. I mean, if they can win this, I don't know.
I'm not even going to say I'm going to put it past them because genuinely anything can happen, but that is going to be a map on the board. Makoof putting the arms in the air, happy with that one. Drenga are going to at least keep us alive. We're going to be heading off to this rewind. Bit of a mixy one once again. But it was good to see that they've managed to deal with that adversity there. Obviously going up 2-0, being dragged back into a bit of a dogfight, and then putting the members of Project Vapor back into that spawn trap. I tell you what, it takes good effort to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and what do we say coming into this control? We want to see IDK back to the form he was in earlier. 45 kills, 6 assists. That's 51 on his scoreboard. The player can be seeing that as well. And not only did he have 45, his sub-duo, Tea and Crumpets, also had 38. That's a lot of kills, Joel.
Well spotted. That is a lot of kills. I don't normally tend to get that many. So we are going to be heading our way off to a rewind hard point. Obviously, that's one that you've mentioned a couple of times this weekend that you're looking forward to. Any sort of specific reason why?
We've just not seen it very much. You know, it's one of those maps that got added back into the hard point. It was in the hard point place at the very start as players were starting to get to grips with the game. Got taken out before, you know, the Challenger season properly got underway, before we had any land events as well. It's now been added back in between the Katana land in March and between the land we are seeing here now in June. And it's very mixed, isn't it? You've got a very real variation of hills. You know, there's a lot of long lanes, long line of sights there for ARs. You know, can get control. We'll see 2, 3, or maybe even 4 ARs pulled out on a hill like P3, for example, and P4. But then you've also got P1, P5, which is going to be headbutt central. You're going to see IDK, if he can keep that up, flying at that Project Vapor team. And the same on the other side of things. You've got Rush, who was doing so well at points within that control game as well. So it's going to be a big battle between the subs, I think.
And yeah, absolutely, you're right there. So one thing probably to try and point out that people I'm sure are taking account of, Drenga have now taken 3 maps off of this Project Vapor side. So more than any team has managed to do at these local events this year. Which is massive credit to themselves, trying to keep themselves alive in here. And like you say, if IDK can pull out another performance like that, they've given themselves every opportunity to work their way down to that protocol search and destroy. A couple of the members having a bit of a look up towards the big screens that we've got in here, seeing the highlights that the production team put together in such quick time for everyone to have a bit of a look back through that map. But like you say, going 5 rounds in there, it's a bit of a grueler, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I mean, we saw a lot of variation in the rounds, didn't we? It wasn't just all 6 ticks very quickly. It wasn't all 30 kills down. It was a real variation and a lot of kills coming through from both teams. And something we've not seen at these local events this year is we haven't seen teams take the slaying power to this Project Vapor team. We've not seen it all weekend up until this Drenga Esports team. You know, as you've mentioned, 3 maps they've now taken off them. And it's not only just 3 maps, it's 3 respawns.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You're doing something right if you can do that against these boys. Obviously, they made the transition to bring Rush in, and I tell you what, is not by any stretch of the imagination worse than this team. If anything, it's probably even enhanced them. He's the one that's sort of leading the way with Julian. Like you see, he's 38 and 24, albeit they do end up losing this map, but if he can keep himself going through this map 4, it could be curtains, or could we possibly be seeing our way off to this this map 5? We might be getting a guest across the screen any second now. I don't think he's aware whatsoever. He's trying to do his best impression of you, mate.
He wants to be in the grand finals as well. Don't we all? But what I would like to say, there's one man I'm looking forward to seeing in this game.
There we go.
And he's going to be the difference maker for me here. It's not going to be a Drenga play. It's going to be Red. You know, we've seen a few slow maps from Red now across the weekend, especially today. He's gone quite negative there in that last game. I know he's not going to be too happy. He did turn around and look at the scoreboard. He's going to acknowledge that himself. If Red can shoot back, it's going to be very hard now for Drenga to keep on top of that slaying power.
He will know himself that this hasn't been his greatest event whatsoever, but there is still absolutely a player in there that can bring that out of this team. If they can get him going, he has that chance to sort of take over. They've all got that sort of takeover ability on that team. But the same with Drenga as well. It's not been that it's always just one person. We've seen Makoof go crazy, IDK as well, T and Crumpets, what an addition he's been to that roster. But kind of get us underway in this map 4.
We're going to be looking, it's going to be a very sub-heavy map. You're probably going to see a couple subs being hit early here. You know, like Makoof, he's an AR, but he's pulled out this sub for this P1 and he's sprinted straight towards those spawns, and he's going to be trying to get those new spawns. You want that P2 side, the Project Vapor spawned on the better side. You want to be, if you're Drenga, trying to get this time, but also trying to push through Laundry and trying to get towards the back.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's a case of you want to be able to spawn into the sort of P2 sides, but you then instantaneously going to try and look to flip themselves back in. Makoof on that 4 streak early doors. He's going to make it 5 now. Heptics and Red both finding kills through there. Really strong start for the members of Drenga here. 21 playing 4, but Vapor have got a chance to claw a little bit of time back here.
Yeah, they're going to claw a little bit of time back here, although as soon as we say that, Julian and Heptics will fall, but they're going to be more focused on this P2 hill, this P2 setup. But look at this kill now. That's a huge kill from Makoof. Come around the back. That's his 6th of the game within the first minute. They've also won these spawns. They're going to be spawning Project Vapor out, and as well as the 30-point lead they're about to extend to, this is going to be the first huge gunfight. This is going to really set the tone for the rest of this hill. If Drenga can pick up 3 kills, it's going to now keep those spawns in their favour, and it's only Red off of that first wave of kills that is still alive, and they are playing their life in Elephant. But look at that, T and Crumpets able with a cheeky line of sight through the laundry door.
That's what I mean, really strong start from the members of Drenga here. You've got Makoof 7 and 2, IDK 5 and 3. Already 30 seconds of time for IDK, extending themselves past that 50-point mark already. You'd like to think that Vapor aren't going to allow that sort of momentum to kick on for Drenga now. We did see it the last time these two teams matched up up. They did manage to pretty much sweep them quite cleanly through that map 4, and this one seems to be following the same sort of storyline. But Rush and Julian have got 2 that they can find back, and Rush will fight back with 1 more at the same time. It's only going to be IDK as the one person that's out of spawn. Keep your eyes on your map, Project Vapor. They've got those P4 spawns pretty much locked in for as it stands. P3 is just about to pop, but big kills coming through Med, and Heptix was just about taken out.
Yeah, and one thing we've noticed so far in this series is we've not really heard the Drenga players get loud with a couple kills. They've won that map number 3 now. If they can start to keep getting this hill time and a couple kills to get away, particularly 2 men, IDK and Makoof, they've been the loud ones on this roster. We're going to be looking forward to them. If we're hearing them screaming, they know they are prime.
Big 2-piece there from Heptix. He will eventually get taken out by Tea and Crumpets. It will be advantage to Project Vapor in terms of the spawns. They've got a chance to try and claw back some time here. Drenga still quite clearly ahead, but big kills, big trades coming through. Heffron going to try and find and take out Heptix, predominantly a blue kill feed. Julian will find one. Heffron going to try and mitigate a couple of the members, going to making their way over, and that'll be a 3 streak for him so far. IDK then taking out Heptix, but luckily for Project Vapor, they are at least going to be spawning in the back, but 2 of them aren't going to be there.
No, Julian fell just before those spawns could come through, so it's just rushing the back. He's able to pick off 2 though. Like we said, we're going to see a couple more ARs pushed out, pulled out between these P3, P4 hills, and Vapor just doing enough. Heffron, big kill there onto Red. They're just doing enough to keep hold of these back spawns for now, and now they are going to assert their dominance on the time as well.
Heffron had absolutely no right to win that one. He has come out on top. He was then instantly traded out, but Heptix will find a big 2-piece to at least keep Project Vapor in this map. And it's still going to be 81 playing 56, advantage for the Dreng is still at this point. Vapor going to try and bring it back as close as what they can. That sort of pinstripe kill feed once again. IDK finding 2, going to try and chow towards the 3rd. Not going to manage to do so, just going to try and keep one of them at bay. Had the SMG in hand, but Heptix was there to take him out, but he's got Makoof there to back him up.
It's a huge 20 seconds. Julian's kind of trapped in the back of this old hill, but you're going to see the rest of the Vapor players try and push towards this. And if Drenga can hold on to these last 10 seconds, which they are going to do successfully, they're going to be the first team to reach 100 points.
They are, by the looks of it. They're going to cross it any second now, and indeed they have Makoof on that 5 streak. He has not slowed down in this one whatsoever. Started well and has continued through onto that 16 and 9 for him at the minute. IDK hitting double digits as well, but Tea and Crumpets will also join him. Rush will answer back with 2 of his own. 103 playing 61. This is normally probably the busiest hill on the map. SMG sort of heaven, be in and around Mixie time in towards Gen. Red with a big 2. Heffron will find 1, does then get taken out by his own nade, and Tea and Crumpets will then take out Heptix.
Yeah, we're seeing Vapor with a bit of early time here. Rush picking up that 3-piece right at the start of this hill is definitely part of that. We've seen another team nade from Drenga. That's 2 now within the space of 1 hill, and that's going to be 4 down as well if you're Drenga, so you're going to be spawning out towards that old hill. Vapor, you're going to have another 5 seconds without a single contest, but look at this push now. They can start to split the push between a few different avenues, particularly as they need to focus on this P1, but they are losing every single gunfight currently to these players. There's only IDK there in the last 2 waves of lives that is able to get a kill.
That's what I mean. It's going to be a case of Vapor going to pretty much bring this one back to evens after the first rotation. It will be 105 playing 100, and it will be Vapor going to be the first team. Julian getting loud after popping a big 2-piece early doors onto the second rotation of P1. Seemingly Drenga going to try and opt to try and condense in towards time, opting to come from every sort of angle. Rush and Red both finding kills. IDK will then take out Red with the pistol in hand, but Rush is starting to heat up. He's over on that 4 streak now, going to try and mitigate any member of Drenga, and he's just actually going to fall after he took out Tea and Crumpets. A chance for Drenga now to try and fight back a little bit.
Yeah, with 25 seconds left on this hill, you are going to still see a couple of players push towards this P1 hill time still, but here we go. We're going to see some of these players start to play towards noon. It's going to be Tea and Crumpets. That's a huge kill onto Red, and it's going to make Heptix turn around. Heptix was thinking about playing for that all time, but he's now going to play in the back, and this is going to be the big gunfight going into the rest of this hill.
That's what I mean. Tea and Crumpet's still going to try and play his life as best as what he can out the back. He is going to take out Red, but he has now got the gun of Heptix to try and deal with, and he's going to manage to find him. Julian will take out Heffron on the way round, but it is going to be a chance for Drenga just to get some early time, depending how quickly Project Vapor get towards it. So Julian will kick us off. 20 and 15 start from him. Nothing really able to split these 2 teams at the minute, but there's one man that can make a difference. It was going to be Rush. He'll get taken out by Heffron, and his trades coming in for both teams.
But like this, T and Crumpets again, keeping up that sub pressure. You know, he had so many important kills. I think it was 3 important kills going for that rotation. He's then able to get 1, but the rest of his team are spawning out. There's 30 seconds left. Now, as much as you do want this 30 seconds, you know, Vapor, you don't want to be giving it away. You don't want to keep that close as possible for as long as possible. They're going to get 3 good kills, but what's going to be more important is this now rotation. You know, the P3 and P4 hill are so close together. You want the same spawn for both of these hills. And look at this, you're going to see the long route coming in from Heffron. And Heptix is already thinking about where these players are going to be coming from because they know they are missing one. They're smart enough players to be calling out the names.
That's what I mean, big gunfight over towards New. Heptix will take out Heffron on the way around, just going to make sure he's going to try and block those sort of P4 spawns. He will send Julian on towards time to try and start this early sort of countdown for Project Vapor. Still nothing to split these teams whatsoever. Trades once again for both teams. But keep your eyes on T and Crumpets here. He's going to start to work that push round. Don't know if Red or Heptix are going to be able to find him. Not going to do so. He's going to sprint out the back, and it's now a chance for Drenga to capitalise on that quick break on this P3. Chance for them to extend the lead.
That's maybe the 3rd time we've seen T and Crumpets in this map sneak through the Project Vapor line and pick up 1 or 2 kills and win the spawn for a team. You don't often see the sub players winning spawn for their teammate. That's typically an AR's job, especially with this P3 hill and the long lane it is. But he's been able to sneak through so many times. But as soon as we're complimenting T and Crumpets on sneaking through the back spawns, his team will spawn out again, and he's trying to spawn out. That's a huge kill there coming through from Hep.
He's going to have to try and stay alive here. He's got a couple of members of Drenga. They're just going to soak up the last couple of seconds. And we genuinely cannot split these teams on this map. They are consistently within a few seconds of each other come the end of each hard point. Julian trying to play a little bit of an off angle, trying to pick somebody off. Coming past Berger, not going to manage to do so. Early time going to be in favour of Project Vapor here. Drenga are going to have to start to condense themselves in towards this time. Can't afford Vapor to pull clear here because they could afford to then take a little bit of scrap. Julian, Red, Heptix all getting involved in that kill feed, and a chance for them to continue to extend out. It's all going to be an IDK here.
Yeah, that was a combined 8 spree there. Julian's now on a 5 of his own. Hep with 3, and look at that, he's just soaking his hill. There are 20 more points available on this hill as well. The spawns are still going to be there. I know the current time is blue. Makoof with a huge streak, going for the 4th, but Rush will trade him out eventually before everyone comes in. That's a huge 10 seconds that they've stopped Project Vapor from getting, but what they do need to make sure is they don't give up those same 10 seconds at this new hill.
And it's only going to be Heptix that's in and around time. It looks like he's got that SMG in hand. He's got a couple of members round the back. We've heard Rush find 1. He is going to take out T and Crumpets. He's going to have Makoof trying to fly towards him. Rush is going to get himself away. IDK going to take Heptix out on time. There is actually no trophies in there from Drenga. It looks like Project Vapor have managed just to get one down. Rush and Julian have just managed to take one out of those on time, but it's going to be a case of Drenga going to get themselves in. 209 playing 185. Chance for Drenga to still capitalise on this point. Trophies are going down. Vapor going to have to try and headbutt this a little bit. Can't afford for Drenga to soak all the next sort of 20 seconds up from here. This could go either way.
Yeah, and look, the kill's just being traded back and forth. We said at the start of this game, it's going to be a mixy hill, and that's exactly what it is. Kills going back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, I think it was Rush that was able to pick, IDK, sorry, was able to pick up 2 towards this hill. It's going to be Rush trying to pinch him from the back. 10 seconds left of this hill. The next hill as well is right next door. You literally just have to go through a small corridor and you're in that next hill as well. And we are potentially going to see Project Vapor keep a hold of the hill. I don't know how we're meant to keep up with that P5.
I've got no idea. Heffron's going to come through. He will find 208 playing 212. Still plenty of time on the clock. Makoof is going to come through, take out Red. He's having one of the better games that we've seen this weekend. He's going to try and keep the boys alive in this one. Julian going to find a kill in towards mid. Right, Drenga touching this time at the minute. Going to try and claw away at anything that they can take away. Naturally, one of the trickier maps to be able to soak up time on this P1. Trades coming in for both teams. It is going to be 2 in favour of T and Crumpets. Rush will answer back with 2 of his own, but they've not managed to get them off of time yet. He's going to try run in, isn't going to manage to do so. Julian's going to try and take him off. Vapor going to be back onto time now.
I mean, this map, this is exactly what we said. It's entertaining, it's fast-paced. These 2 hills back to back are ridiculously mixy, and with how much is on the line here, quite literally £2,000, you've got a 12-point difference at the minute. It's going to potentially be an exactly tied game going into this P2. This could be ridiculous, Joel.
Oh my God, Heptix is on the way round. He's going to nearly find the second. That could have been the one that gave Project Vapor the advantage in here. Drenga are going to be smart enough to read it though. They've got 3 members pretty much stacked in towards time. IDK's he's managed a team kill. He's lobbed a nade somewhere. Heffron will help him out though. He's going to take away 2 members of Project Vapor here. Rush, closest person towards time. Keep your your eyes on Julian. Julian coming on the pinch. Heffron will deal with him. And there's a chance, only a couple seconds, unless Vapor can get themselves in. Still contested. It's yellow. It's not yellow, it's white, it's blue. Both teams trying to get involved. IDK with a couple. 4 dead. Ladies and gentlemen, map 5.
I think the credit's got to go to Heffron there at the end, hasn't he? He's got two pieces. He got a 2-piece stopping Julian come around, pinch that back spawn. He was then able to get another 2-piece onto the time to keep the time blue. And then IDK with a 2-piece to see off that map number 4. This is almost a repeat of what we saw in the winners' finals. We saw Project Vapor quite convincingly in moments win those first 2 maps. We're now seeing Drenger take these next 2 maps. We're going to a map number 5, Joel.
We are, and by the looks of it, a couple of members are just going to go and take a break at the minute. Questions are possibly being asked of when it is they're going to be able to get underway. But look at that, Julian, 36 and 29. We've got Rush, 33 and 29. An opportunity for what is going to be an absolute bang out of a map on Protocol.
I mean, we've had 4 ridiculous maps already. I mean, the last 2 particularly have gone right down to the wire. That map is what you expect to see in the grand final. You don't want to see the blowouts that we kind of saw in map 1. You want to see those close games. That one maybe a little bit too close for the blood pressure of some of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just couldn't split these 2 teams across that map. It was literally just a case of they were tracking each other's time, no one managing to sort of pull clear. But ultimately it was the members of Drenger. Think of the adversity that they've just had. We saw the best version of Project Vapor probably through map 1 and map 2, but Drenger answering back with 2 maps of their own, taking the control and this hard point. A Protocol S&D, these 2 have literally gone pretty much trade for trade through S&D. It's going to be interesting which way this one's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, the only bad thing if you're Drenger here is you've taken a control and a hard point off of them in both of the series you've played. You are yet to take an SD, and you know they want to push it to that second best of 5. I mean, the way this is going, a second best of 5 would be a very entertaining watch. However, Project Vapor have yet to drop an S&D in this event.
That's what I mean. That's what they're going to be banking on as the stat for the weekend, that they shan't be losing at S&D, else they will be heading off to, as you mentioned, the second best of 5. So basically that's going to be the case here. It is literally a 1-for-1 gunfight on this next map. Project win it, they take home the crown. If Drenger win it, we do head ourselves off to the second best of 5 with a little bit of a break in between, so the players could get themselves set and get the vetoes done and back in. But what a map this was. Like I said, I don't think I've seen one so closely contested.
And this is why Rewind is maybe not the best map. You know, they got taken out of our pool for a reason at the start of the game. We thought that we had better maps, but it has been added back in. It's actually a very entertaining watch. And it can be entertaining to play, especially, you know, look at all the kills. The scoreboard is very even. Obviously, on the player scoreboard, they'll have the assists on there as well. Most of the kills will be assists as well. There are so many bullets getting put down because the gunfights are so close together.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, look at this. Literally 240, 224. Only a couple seconds at the end was needed for Drenger, and ultimately they managed to find it. I don't actually quite remember how IDK's managed a team kill with that nade there. They had the help of Heffron, I think it was, that found 2 kills after that one, but nobody was on their sort of side of time. But it doesn't matter. He's managed to pull themselves clear of that one. It is going to be 2 apiece, heading off to a Protocol. Interesting how these 2 are going to be able to play on. So situations like we've just mentioned, if you've just joined and sat back down, Project Vapor, if they do win this one, they will take home the series and be crowned the champions. Should Drenger take home this Protocol, we will be heading off to another best of 5 where everything is on the line. Which way do you think this one goes?
It's tough, isn't it? We saw this map as the map 5 the last time these 2 teams met up, so it's quite ironic that we're seeing it again. And the last time we saw it, there's 2 players in particular. It was Rush, it was Julian. They were in 1v2, 1v3 situations a few times, which you would think that's not a good thing. You know, why are they being left in these 1v2, 1v3s? But they won quite a few of them.
That's what I mean. I remember one distinctly from Julian, had absolutely no right to try and win it. He didn't actually come out on top of it, but from a 1v3, no chance of winning it. He was literally probably about 1 pistol shot off of being able to take it away. So Bomb is going to be sort of slowly wrapped over towards this P2 point. The majority of the Drenger members are going to be loitering in and around this middle of the map. IDK finding the first kill onto Red, just hasn't managed to get going in the S&Ds today. And IDK will find another. Trades coming in. Makoof will find the 3rd. Last member up is going to be Julian. And by the looks of it, someone's actually fell off the map there. But
Keeper's
other than
fallen off the map.
that, doesn't matter. Drenga are going to come out on top.
That's the first time we've really properly heard IDK get going in this series vocally. You know, we've heard it in series previous. Ugh. Oh, it's getting late.
Long day.
We've heard it in previous series, but we haven't quite heard it yet. I mean, Maku falling off the map's not going to be great, but I wish the camera panned onto his face because it was a very hilarious reaction looking over at his face.
Obviously, a good round early doors on the board for Drenga there. They've managed to deal with that offensive round from Project Vapor. Possibly wasn't expecting for it to come so quickly. That's what this map can do. It could be quite quick trades. It can be a case of they're going to be able to maybe find one or two and then sort of try and play off of the information. But seemingly everyone deciding to line up and they thought it was that easy. He'd throw himself off the map at the same time as well. But IDK finding another two. It's going to be trades coming for both teams. IDK finding two. Heptics finding two. But Heffron will ultimately find that trade, and now Red in that 1v2 situation. How's he going to be able to handle this one?
Well, you got the two informed players in a minute, the two vocal players. You're heard IDK again, another two-piece jumping down the zip there. Heffron getting out as well after his pick. The bomb is down. It's going to be tough for Red to win this. He does have the correct weapon for this current initial gunfight, but he might want to try and see if there's a sub on the floor. That's exactly what he's going to do. Try and win that first one. He's going to win it 1v1. 20 seconds on the clock. IDK done exactly what he needed to. Charged it straight away. 5 kills from IDK early on. You can see, looking at the player cameras here, Team Crumpets maybe a little bit more composed than the rest of his team here, but 5-0 start from IDK. That RCXD is something that, you know, players don't particularly like. It's a bit hard to control at times, but on a map like Protocol, you can just chuck it down into that bunker and leave it.
Yeah, Makufa was quick to let them know that they're going to be 2-0 up in this search and destroy, but IDK on a 5 early doors. He's managed to take out nearly half of the team so far across these two. Good start from him. Every other member of Drenga also on the board. It looks like nades are going to be going over towards mid, and here comes that sort of fast play over towards A. It is going to be IDK's the first sort of wave that Project Vapor are going to have to try and deal with. Sliding out is going to be Team Crumpets. Got possibly a little bit of information onto Julian here. IDK finding that first kill once again. Makoof is going to find one as well, and an opportunity for Drenga to go 3-0 up now.
Yeah, back to rush all the way up. He's going to use that zip, get out of there and try and regroup with Red, but they've already predicted that's exactly what's going to happen. Happen, watch this P2. Makoof also watching this P2. That's another clean round in favour of Drenga. IDK, more importantly as well, was able to get another kill towards his streaks there. He has not died yet. He is 6-0 in this map. But more importantly than him being 6-0, Drenga are 3-0 up.
They are 3-0 up, and it is the carry on at this pace. We are going to be rolling our way down to that second best of 5. If they can keep up this, it's going to have to sort of be Project Vapor's chance to bring themselves back into this one. They will know that this is not acceptable whatsoever. Look at, like you've just pointed out there, that's 8 untraded kills from Drenga at this point.
I think that might be 9,
It's actually 9. Well, like you mentioned, we're quite late on into the day here. Nearly 14 hours later, but we are still loving every moment of it. It is going to be Team Crumpets down to just 35 HP. One shot from Julian will eventually take him out. IDK trying to pre-fire over to him, but not managing to find him that time.
I think that's the first time we are seeing Project Vapor then getting the first blood in this round. So maybe they can use that, and they are. Julian again. Julian again. Can we get on to board with Julian? When is he going to get this ace?
Seemingly
he's going to be chasing it. He's going to want it.
He is. It's just going to be IDK. I'm not too sure who it was. I don't think it was. Rush getting himself
Spoiled the party.
He needed that one to get himself off the board, but good reply for Project Vapor. If he's staring down the barrel of 4-0, it's looking quite tough. They've just at least brought themselves back into a little bit of contention, but still a lot of work to do for Project Vapor.
These next few rounds are the most important ones, aren't they? You know, is it going to become a map where it's okay? Project Vapor are going to win the next 2 rounds, it's going to be 3-all, or will it be the other way around where Drenga are going to win the next 2 matches, it's 5-1, because there's a big difference between those 2 scorelines.
Definitely, and like you've mentioned, it's Julian's turn to try and claw the members of Project Vapor through into this search and destroy and start to bring themselves back into an even playing field on that 3 streak at the minute. Rush getting himself off the board in that last round. Julian finding another, has got the information, I think, onto Makoof there. He's going to opt to try and just run away. He doesn't want any piece of that, but Julian will actually then fall to IDK. He'll reply with 2 of his own. Heptics will be the second member of Project Vapor that is going to fall, and an opportunity for Drenga to maybe try and put the gas on this one.
I mean, IDK clearly is annoyed that we started talking about how well Rush did in that last round and doesn't want us to forget about him. Ooh, almost saw Rush getting turned and burned there. Team Crumpets getting a couple bullets into him, tagging him up, but it's now going to be a 1 versus 2 rush. Bomb down in a bit of a precarious place. I do think Drenga know where that bomb is, because Makuf and IDK seem to be tucked away inside that Grandma's building quite nicely. And what I thought was a bit strange at the start of the round is we've seen all weekend Rush be the bomb carrier for this team. Julian had it this round.
He did, and if there's one man that's going to be able to win this round for Project Vapor, it is going to be Rush. He is going to only have 25 sort of seconds to do so. Drenga are just seemingly going to play for the trade. There's 2 of them, they're going up, it's down. You're going to have to try and do the best thing that you can. Whether it's worth knocking on that door, Rush, I don't know. He's going to try and fly around the corner. Not going to manage to do so. And Drenga just letting him know, you shouldn't have knocked on the door, because we're here and we're waiting.
Yeah, there's lots of smiles coming in from this Drenga team. I mean, when you're doing so well like they are, 4-1 now against the team that, people come into this thinking they're not going to lose a map.
No, absolutely. And like you say, Project Vapor can't let this sort of get into their minds here. Obviously, Drenga trying to be vocal, get into the minds of Project Vapor to try and see if they can unhinge them and see their way through to the second best of 5. They are pretty much back against the walls at the minute.
And that's the thing that Project Vapor have done to other teams in the past across the last 2 events. They've been the ones getting loud and getting into other people's ears, thinking back to that March event, particularly Red and CJP.
Absolutely, and it is going to be Makuf that's the first member that will fall. Heffron will then also follow suit to Heptics. He's going to try and fly through. It is going to be IDK that's just about getting away with his life, but this is a round that's potentially much needed for Project Vapor here. A couple of members of Drenga fallen early doors. It is going to be IDK. T and Crumpet's the only man also up alongside him. Bit of a slow start for him in this search and destroy. Normally one that's in the faces of the opponents, but like you say, 4-1, you've got to try and do everything you can, pull out all the stops. Last member going to be T and Crumpets, but you will at least find one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're paying too much attention to IDK. He dolphin dived off the platform, and you do take full damage as the game if it's too high. And he went down to 2 HP, so he almost dived to his death.
That would have been very good, wouldn't it?
Thanks for that one. 1 versus 3, TN Crumpets now. He's now able to get a second, so he's turned a 1 versus 4 into a 1 versus 2. 20 seconds left on the clock. He does not have that bomb in hand. He does need to either work both these kills or get the bomb down, or walk into Heptics' prayer.
That's what I mean. Smart play from Project Vapor there. They are going to reply. It's going to be 4-2, so nothing still to worry about from a Drenga perspective. They are going to possibly try and maybe play this next round a little bit slower, not going to try and headbutt straight through time, try and play for that pick and sort of play the advantage after that point. But Heptics coming alive when they needed him most. It was a good round for the members of Project Vapor there.
Yeah, I mean, if Project Vapor were to fall in that round, if they were to lose it, not only the situation it was in a 1v4, you don't want to be losing them, but Drenga would have been on match point for our first best of 5. Remember, Project Vapor came from the winner's side of the bracket, so if Drenga want to be taking home the crown and their share of £2,000, they need to win this map and another 3 in another best of 5.
They do, and it is going to be Vapor. They're going to opt to try and play underneath this A point. Makuf will be the first one to find a kill. Bomb is going to be going down on towards A. 4 versus 2 in favour of Drenga now. It is going to be massively in their favour. They are going to have to try and get this bomb, but I imagine they're going to run a bit of a 2-2 split, sort of try and play the trade. Julian going to find one, instantly taken out. Rush will find one, has another member, not going to manage to do so. So close to taking out T and Crumpets, and this is going to be series point for Drenga.
Yeah, and it's just the consistent stuff, isn't it? Particularly from those 2 players, Makuf, IDK, T and Crumpets also a 2 in that round. He's had a bit of a quieter map by the standards he has been setting with that sub, especially the latter half of our series here. But I do think if Drenga are able to get one more round, we're going to hit a roar, not only from the players, but I think this crowd is starting to get a few more murmurs. 5-2, it looks like Drenga might actually be able to do it.
I mean, a lot of people seemingly trying to take attention of this one here, looking to see, are they reading the right scoreboard? Is it actually 5-2 to Project Vapor? Indeed, you are incorrect. It is 5-2 to Drenga. Nade was going to try and nearly take out IDK if he didn't get stuck on the pallets. But look at this, a fast play from Drenga getting off towards this. this B point. Red will be the one that will find a kill early doors. He's also going to have that pinch onto Heffron as well. He's starting to answer the critics. He's found 2 in this round. Opportunity for him if he can start to get himself going. They are going to fly down. Heptics will find another. It is just going to be T and Crumpets that comes around. Red will fall this time, but it is going to be 3 versus 1 in favour of Project Vapor.
Yeah, it's another 1 versus 4 for T and Crumpets. He was able to get 2 last time before he was shut down. He has a little bit more time to work with here, but Julian almost ripped him off of that box mid-slide off of the ledge. 40 seconds to 1v2. It's a very similar situation to what we just saw him in.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and see if any of the member of Project will try and fly their way out of time. Just probably check the corner. Probably doesn't want to give up that 4th streak quite easy. You can see how close he is to that car. He's going to see if he can pick off any member in and around this staircase. He's going to find one. He's going to have the car, and he's going to have the chow nearly from Rush. 15 seconds still to play for. 1v1 close to time, and Rush comes out on top. He takes the ego chow and says, not today. I'm taking this one, and we are still staying inside this protocol. Would I have taken that chow? Probably not, with the series on the line. But that's the confidence that man brings to this team.
That is one hell of an attempt to win the map and force a second best of 5. A 1 versus 4 against players of this caliber.
That's what I mean. I can't believe they gave him the opportunity to do so. But like you say, if Rush is feeling confident enough, you've got to let him try and do it. It's a case of he's managed to keep them alive. It is going to be 5-3. Still, obviously, a set point for Drenga here. Going to try and maybe play a little bit of a reserved one once again. They're going to have the information that Vapor are going to hop down.
Like this from IDK.
What an angle this is from IDK. He's got love taps onto one of them. A couple of members. He's going to find one. He's going to find 2. He's found 2 coming through, and it will be T and Crumpets who'll find another one. Julian is going to have to ace it. Second best of 5.
Oh.
We'll see you there.
Wow. I need to sit down. What a crazy. How has IDK got 2 there? How?
I've got absolutely.
He was weak and then re-chowed and got 2.
And it left Julian in a situation where he had to 1v4. So we are basically going to now have to take a little bit of a break, let the players sort of regain, get some fresh air, get a drink, nip to the toilet if they need to. It will be a case of we will be heading to a bit of a break in the near future. Obviously, we'll be having a new map set, so please do not go anywhere, and we'll be heading off to a break very shortly. Any sort of thoughts from you on that one, on that series?
Run it back.
Well, we're going to, funnily enough. I tell you what, I'll give you a present. We're going to do it for you. So we'll take a quick look at the replays up on the big screen for the people who are still in here and the members at home who are going to be having a look. But like you mentioned, how on earth has IDK won that there?
I really don't know. I'm going to find him outside in a second, and I'm going to ask him, how have you got those 2 kills?
I don't think he's got the answer. I'll be perfectly honest. But like you say, some of these rounds, like you say, Drenga went 3-0 up in this series. They managed to eventually get it done, and it was. But they could have had it done the round before if Rush hadn't have won that kill. But like you say, confidence enough from him. What a comeback that was for Drenga. The first series lost that Vapor have lost in a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I know this series is completely about Drenga. We're going to make it about me for a second, because I said after that map number 2, we need to see that IDK that we saw for the rest of today. And what did he do for those last 3 maps?
That's what I mean. He stepped up and he showed everybody why it is that he is going to be in a grand final with that sort of takeover ability. We are going to be, like you say, taking that quick break now, waiting for the players to get themselves ready, and we'll see you guys in the second best of 5. Don't go anywhere.
To fuck up everything that we ever made. Some people change and some people don't. Don't give it another shot. We've had enough, I think it's time to stop. I fucked up everything we ever made. Some people change, but you know I won't. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, forgive me. You have to find a way. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, believe me, you have to run away. What you expect me to do? Push you away when we're both feeling blue. No lies can help with what you're going through. Some things can change, but you know it won't. won't. Why do we wait for the worst? Everyone knows that the ending is cursed. This ship is sinking, so just say the words. Some people change, but you know I won't. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, forgive me, you have to find a way. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, believe me, you have to run away. It's never better when mistakes are made again. You know we're not the same. Hurting will break the chains. It's never better when mistakes are made again. There's poisons in my veins. Liars are all the same. It's never better when mistakes are made again. You know we're not the same. Hurting will break the chains. It's never better when mistakes are made again. There's poisons in my veins. Liars are all the same.
Relationships will often end in disgusting. I know you want my love, but there's nothing to discuss. I don't need you in my life no more. I don't need you in my life no more. I got no money, it's getting sunny, but I still feel cold. I've been nose running, you funny, you going make it out. What? Not the time just to go around. What a word you think is safe and sound. What? Might as well just burn it down. It's always winter time inside my mind. I find it hard to bear. 'Cause it gets cold and blurry. Yeah, it gets cold and blurry. She took my heart and then discarded all the evidence. All of her actions were a clear case of malevolence. I got no money, it's getting sunny, but I still feel cold. I've been nose running, you funny, you
We're doing alright. When we are apart, we always do the same dance. Always on the fence, never making sense. I'm not gonna feel a thing tonight. I'm not gonna be the one tonight. Don't wanna hear anything that you say. Your love is a game that I don't wanna play. So don't say you need me when I walk away. So many words, but they don't mean a thing. You blur the lines between love and obscene. So don't say you need me, 'cause we're not a thing. We're not a thing. I'm doing alright. Since we are apart, you know it's always the heart first. Don't care if it hurts, you're making it worse. I'm not gonna feel a thing tonight. Not gonna feel a thing. I'm not gonna see your face tonight. Not gonna see your face. Don't wanna hear anything that you say. Your love is a game that I don't wanna play. So cry all you want, but I still walk away. Cry all you want, but I still walk away. So many words, but you don't mean a thing. You blur the lines between love and obscene. So don't say you love me, cause it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
The night is young, our memories echo inside me. As time is slowly ticking away, I miss the way that we were in harmony. I'm having trouble letting go. I close my eyes and wish you were closer. Now we're like footprints in the snow, slowly fading until it's over. Our memories won't last forever. Now love you for eternity. So baby, let's get back together. I'll show you what you need, a symphony.
I've been in and out my mind since I hit your phone. I've been counting up the times that I did you wrong. I just want you by my side when I get real gone. Feel it's been a little while since we got along, yeah. We've been playing stupid games, the situation rotates. And they say communication, safe relations, okay. Medicated how I'm patient, wasting time ain't the way. Cause I can see it on your face. I've been tossing, turning, staying up all night long. I've been calling, yearning, wondering what I did wrong. I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, and let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I've been meaning to read into it, time to put it to rest. Is it stress? Is it that I ain't answer your text? Don't you treat it like amnesia, you know I always forget. Stirring the pot real hot, watch how the plot thickens. Around the clock, tick tock, need more than 20 seconds to get your attention before it's on to the next thing. And I'm over here again wondering, can I hold ya, hear your truth, pull you closer, talk it through?
Girl, you know that I'm the one that you can come and complain to. Your silhouette's amazing, but your brain is a maze too.
So can you help me find my way while I find something to say?
I know the arguing just augments everything going both ways, but baby, I can see it on your face.
Up and tossing, turning, staying up all night long. Up and calling, yearning, wondering what I did wrong. I could tell by your eyes you got something to hide. So open your mind up, let me inside, let's make it right. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? 'Cause I keep trying to figure it out. Oh no, oh no. Tell me, baby, what's the problem? I'm only picking up what you're putting down. You'll be tripping, I don't know what about. So what's the problem right now? She got a body like a goddess, and she talks so sweet. It's like I can't believe I'm the one that she wanted. And if I'm really being honest, I know I could be everything she needs if she let me get on it. Yeah. So come here, baby, listen close, hold me tight, don't let me go. Girl, you know that I'ma want you all my life. So much left to do, except for falling in love with you. So I'ma let you keep me up another time. But please don't stay the night. Don't try to change my mind. Baby, please don't stay the night. I must do what's right. Don't make me ask you twice. Ooh, don't stay the night. Turn it to a fight. You know I love you by my side. Just don't stay the night. I must do what's right. I'm done being polite. Oh, don't stay the night. She'll always find a way around it. I thought she'd be gone, but when I woke up in the morning, she was laying beside me. She know when she wanted. I can never turn her down. Oh, I probably should have kicked her out by now. But you're the finest of them all. Make me lose my self-control. All I wanna do is make you feel alright. You drive me crazy, turn me on, and that's the reason I'ma let you go. 'Cause you and I both know that we can't keep it quiet. So please don't stay the night. Don't try to change my mind. Please don't stay the night. Almost do what's right. Don't make me ask you twice. Oh, don't stay the night. Don't try to turn it to a fight. 'Cause you know I love you by my side. Just don't stay the night. Right. I'm done being polite. Oh, don't stay the night.
I feel the gravity pull and it keeps me away. I would rather be here, lonely in space. I've made up my mind, I just wanna be free. I live my own life in a new galaxy. I wanna be weightless in the silence of the night sky. I wanna free fall into nothing at all. I'm taking the moment, starting all over.
Be careful making wishes in a dark, dark. Can't be so women hit it. And besides, in the
Welcome back to the Esports Hub. We are going to be settling back into this second best of 5. If you have missed it, we have just seen Drenga Esports take down Project Vapor for the first time in quite a while for some of these players at a UK LAN. It's the first time that a lot of them have experienced this sort of feeling for quite a while. I think it dates all the way back to January. It shows the progression of this Drenga team and how far they have come. We are going to be settling ourselves back into potentially another 5 maps of Call of Duty. I can't imagine we're going to be a million miles away from getting underway, and we were treated once again to another rewind hardpoint, then heading down to red card for the search and destroy, back onto control for map 4 at Vault.
I'll just stop you there, Joel. It's the same maps, just in a slightly different order.
The swap.
Oh no, the S&D, sorry. Red card S&D's new. But the hard points are the same. They've been swapped over. Vault control is the same. And if we do go the distance again, it's the same.
Am I able to carry on? Is that
Sorry, yeah, you can carry on now.
No worries. So, map 4, going to be red card. It is then going to be going all the way down to a protocol search and destroy, which we did just see Drenga knock Project Vapor off of the pedestal. Seemingly, players going to be getting their headsets back on. The vibes on the Drenga roster looking quite high. We're seeing gun fingers in the air by the looks of it from Makoof there. Bottle of water ready as well. Players are going to be ready, waiting to get underway. I don't even know what expectation we have at this point.
I mean, we had quite a lot of expectations going into the grand finals, but we didn't expect it to deliver to the extent that it did. I mean, we saw Drenga take Project Vapor all the way to that map number 5 during the winners final, and it was again the Protocol S&D. Now we are going all the way in the second best of 5. This is the 3rd time today these two teams have played the best of 5. It's like a scrim.
You could say that. We could be possibly seeing all 10 maps of this second best of 5 going all the way down to a protocol. We are going to be shortly getting underway in this rewind hardpoint. If you didn't miss it not too long ago, nothing pretty much to settle the two teams or split them even on rewind. It was a case of just at the end Drenga managed to nick it, but the standout player so far for this grand final, Mr. IDK, he has been sat in the chair. He has been waiting to get himself back up and underway and get back in the faces of Project Vapor. 5 seconds to go. We are going to be heading ourselves down into rewind. It is going to be Drenga Esports versus Project Vapor. Let's see how this one is going to unfold.
And for anyone that might have joined us between these two best of 5s, maybe seen on Twitter that Project Vapor have indeed dropped a series. We've seen a bracket reset. Katana Land 7 is going to be TN Crumpet.
Well spotted. So he is going to be the member that falls early doors for Drenga. First couple of seconds going in their favour. Makoof 2 and 1 start from him. IDK did find 1, has then been traded by Rush, someone who will be wanting to keep the vibes of this Project Vapor high, get themselves up and running. So nothing really splitting the two teams at the minute. Still this P1 big 2-piece from Heptix on a 4 streak now. The members of Project Vapor starting to get loud early doors, trying to answer back. That is going to be 8 untraded by them onto Drenga here. Let's see how this one is going to go. Heffron getting loud as well.
I mean, this is what you need though, isn't it? You saw the players where they went outside, had a little break during our interval, and they were talked about going through the series, I'm sure, and they kind of put some bandages over that pain from that last series. You know, they did not feel like they wanted to lose that. They got that reputation that they are the best team at these local events over the whole year. But the calls, the screams, they're going to try and put a bandage over the pain they're going to have and try and help them win this map number 1.
Indeed they are, and it is going to be sort of Project Vapor. They've made the transition over to this P2 quite seamlessly. 27 playing 7, they are going to be on towards this time, but a couple of members are going to be either plopping themselves on time or fallen. Mr. IDK starting to get the gun firing once again. 5 and 5 from him now, but Julian will answer back with 2 of his own, and he's going to come through and find 3. That's a big 3 from them to try and extend this lead from P2 out, and it is going to be sort of around 50 playing 8, unless any of the members of Drenga spawn in the back and try and chow through old.
Yeah, and amongst the passion comms, the deads that Julian and Rush have been shouting, and looking over at the players, you can see Hector really locked in. He's trying to keep calm, composed, direct his teammates with what's to go. You know, they've just played this map. You know, it was a very close map in the entire series. Maybe they've learned a couple of mistakes they made, and they want to try and close it out. We saw in that first best of 5 a replay of a red card hardpoint, and you know, Project Vapor fixed the mistakes they had that out the first time round. They're going to be looking to do the same here. on Rewind.
Big kill from Rush there onto IDK. He was starting to build up a little bit of a streak on the way round. He is going to be able to try and fly through. Not going to manage to find anyone off of Old. 53 playing 22. Drenga are going to be the ones that are on towards time, but it will be advantage for Project Vapor as it stands at the minute. They are going to have that sort of transition over towards P4 if everything stays as is. But keep your eyes on T and Crumpets. He's made his way around the back. Rush is going to find 3, but ultimately gives up the spawns to Drenga here. They're going to try and cash out in the last sort of 10 seconds or so. Rush will fall. Julian will find another, but a chance for Drenga to claw their way back into this one.
Yeah, there's 3 dead there in the feed. Project Vapor with the kills, but the spawns. Look at the spawns river on the map. You've got 2 players of Drenga in the back. You've got 2 players that have also spawned out on the other side of the map, and the comms are going to be a little bit clustered for both teams here for a little bit until these spawns settle down, because you've still got IDK behind enemy lines here. He's able to get 1, but will be traded out by who else but Julian. 16 and 7 early on here. He's turning up, isn't he?
He is indeed, and he did do this in the first hard point of the evening as well. Big 2-piece for T and Crumpets there. Heptix will take him out. Red will find 1, instantly traded by the man of the match so far for Drenga in IDK. 13 and 9. Positive start from him so far. He's going to get some taps into a couple of members on time. It is going to get to around that 100-point mark for Project Vapor here. This is going to be their sort of expectation. This is what they would have spoken about outside. They did manage to go off by themselves, but it is going to be Heffron with some early body shots. Possibly a case of they know that they're losing, but going to try and get into the minds of Project Vapor here. It is going to be T and Crumpets. He's 13-11, but will fall to Julian. And we are constantly hearing dead shouts from both teams, and Rush is getting involved in this one.
Yeah, it's something, especially that Drenga side, it seems to be targeted at one player, and there's one player that has struggled over the course of a few maps today. That is going to be Red. He was the MVP last time out in March, and he has struggled a little bit this weekend. He's not put the same amount of time in as they did going into that March event here, but he's going to hope to correct some of the mistakes. He had a really good rewind last time out. I'm sure the second rotation he will start to switch it on, but so far at the minute this P5 is still going the way of Project Vapor, and it doesn't really matter what the KD of Red is when they are 126 to 53 points up.
That's what I mean. It's been a fantastic start really for Project Vapor. They've allowed sort of IDK and T and Crumpets to tee off on them quite well, but they've managed to keep Heffron and Makoof sort of at bay. The 2 power hitters, mainly Julian and Rush, heating up, but they've got Heptix alongside them this time as well. Trade kills, coming in a bit of a pinstripe kill feed in towards this Jen's point. Rush is going to find 1. He's got IDK out the side the front alongside Heffron as well. Going to try play off towards this new fantastic sort of rotations here out of Project Vapor.
Yeah, and the one real difference in those first 5 hills we have seen from the first series, the first time we saw Rewind Hardpoint, it's just those 2 ARs on Drenga. You got Makoof, you got Heffron struggling in the kills department. We saw a very even score, but across the lobby, Rush on a 5 streak, almost turning onto, who is that, T and Crumpets with a pistol there. But go back to what we were saying, those ARs are really struggling on the side of Drenga. And, I mean, Julian, Rush, Heptix is now starting to creep up in terms of kills as well, and they are hard to stop when they get into a mood like this.
Absolutely that, and what was quite a closely contested rewind in our first best of 5 is by no stretch of the imagination anywhere near the same. We are going to see Project Vapor go past the 170 point mark, well over 100 points clear of this Drenga roster so far. Maybe it was a bit of a kick that they needed onto the members of Project Vapor. Rush finding 2 more. Anything he's touching is finding a kill at the minute. He's the heavy hitter over on Project Vapor alongside Julian at the minute, and this is starting to get ugly for Drenga.
I mean, there's a reason when they needed to find a replacement for Callum for this event. There's a reason they looked at Rush. You know, they saw the amount of hours he puts into the game. They saw him play in that London March. They played against him, in fact, as well. And he is really bringing something different to this team. And that's something different. 23-15 and probably a sore voice box by the end of the series.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's going to be a case of Rush just constantly getting in the faces of Drenga here. Red will come through, find 1. He does ultimately take out Rush in the process, but Julian will answer another one onto T and Crumpets at the same time. Heffron really not having the map that we thought that we'd see so far from him. He's been one of the sort of consistent players on that Drenga roster, really struggling to get going. Hasn't managed to find himself anywhere near towards that time as well. But 210 playing 64. This is really ugly. Oh my gosh. Rush, anything he's touching, a 3-piece off of the Hellstorm, that is going to be 4 dead with the help of Rush. This one could be over soon.
Yeah, it's getting ugly now. You know, Rush already had the Hellstorm. He's getting 3 kills with it. And to be honest, you talk about a statement, a lot of the talk, you know, going downstairs, going outside, we're seeing a lot of the players in between our break. A lot of the talk was, Project Reaper, are they going to be able to do it? Will they now bottle this second series? And they're putting an absolute statement out in this map number 1, aren't they, Joel?
They are indeed, and as you can probably tell, that the Drenga voices are a little bit quiet here. It's hard to obviously get loud when you're up against a team like this. This is the Project Vapor that we were expecting to see consistently throughout that first best of 5. We did see it for a first couple bits, and Red coming through with a 3-piece, 1 more second required. 250 to 65. What a way to start this second best of 5. Enjoy that one. That was good, wasn't it?
It was. It wasn't quite the closely contested bang out that we saw in that first series. But it was quite the opposite, wasn't it? It was a complete blowout. This is the kind of games that, you know, this Project Vapor team were putting on yesterday. We didn't see them on the main stage. They played a lot of side stations, but when we saw the stat sheets come through with the results of some of the games, we did see quite a lot of less than 100 points on teams they played against. And I mean, Drenga, when you've got players in the mood like that, Julian with 30, Rush with 29, we don't even need to talk about Hep and Red just because of how good those 2 players were in that map number 1.
I know, both of them 23 untraded at the same time as well. So that's going to be 46 of those kills on that map where no one has been traded. Opportunity to get themselves away, and we don't know how many times that's been a case of they've then gone on to find more players after that with kills as well. But look at some of the highlights that you're going to see through here. It was pretty much the Rush show. Julian was going alongside him, but the clips certainly coming from Rush's POV. 2-piece after 2-piece, finding 3 with the Hellstorm as well. He'll be happy with that one.
I really hope we get that clip where Rush was able to pick up 3 and almost turn onto Team Crumpets with a pistol as well, because that was ridiculous. If that would have happened, then what we'd have done.
Oh, I don't know. Probably shouted quite loudly would be my guess. But it just seemingly at the early parts it was sort of trade for trade. It was a case of Drenga were able to get themselves on towards this time, and then it was literally roughly around 150 points, near enough unanswered in favour of Project Vapor here. It was only sort of, what was it, 250 to around the 60-70 margin. And like you say, that's what Project Vapor, after they went outside, they would have spoken, relaxed, calmed down a little bit. And that is exactly the way that they would have come back and wanted to answer in this one.
I mean, look here, Joel, 61 points Drenga on here. It's currently 140 to 61, sorry. And look how the game is going to end when we get to that final scoreboard. They're still on 61 every highlight for a little bit, and they're still going to be in those 60s because they don't get out the 60 point. It was so dominant from Project Vapor from that second rotation.
That's what I mean. They played the fundamentals exactly how it needed to be done. They were managing to block the spawns. They were making those transitions over towards Nu quite seamlessly. But there you go, Red with a 3-piece. That was ultimately voted best player on that game. But that was a good way for Project Vapor to kick us off in this second best of 5. Rush very animated, getting all of the members of Project Vapor geared up and ready to head off into this second map, which is going to be a red card. Any early thoughts on this one?
Well, we've not seen these 2 teams match up on a red card S&D in that previous series. This is the only map change that we're actually seeing across the 2 best of 5s. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what we're going to see. Thinking about this Drenga side, they played a lot of red card S&D today. IDK inside of Ticket, I mentioned it earlier on the broadcast that he's kind of been one of those difference makers inside of Ticket for this team, trying to open up the map. You know, we don't see too many sub players on this, and that is going to be him on the Project Vapor side. You're going to be looking for that continuation of the long range gunfights this time. It's not going to be as close range. It's not going to be necessarily up to Rush and Julian, that sub duo. Might be looking at them having some ARs in their hands, and particularly looking at Heptix. He has been a difference maker in SD for that Project Vapor team this weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and pretty much across all series that have been involved in this weekend. But as we saw, obviously, first thing we mentioned this morning, seeing Heptix go on that 13 streak over on Hacienda, opportunity for him to do the same once here again. Obviously, a big ask. It is going to be 1-0 in favour of Project Vapor here, so it's not going to have to be a case of we go to another best of 5 or anything after this one. It is literally one series settles all. First to 3 will take take home all of the marbles, as they say. But early doors, we're going to have Rush in and around a couple of members of Drenga, and Makoof is going to get loud to Red early doors. He is going to be sat down nearly by Julian and by Rush. It is going to be advantage now to Project Vapor.
So the first blood did go in Drenga's favour, but every kill since then has been a Project Vapor kill. All players sharing the kills out here was going to be T and Crumpets in a 1 versus 3. Tags up one player on that forklift there with the bomb down. 35 seconds to work with. This could be a tricky situation because the players have got kind of everything covered. He snaps onto Julian, but Julian uses that hedge, and you don't particularly get aim assist through the top of that hedge, and you can only see just the tip of Julian's hair.
And that is all that's going to matter there for Project Vapor. Starting 1-0 on the Search and Destroy. I can't even speak for what I've just heard here. But anyway, outside of that, we'll continue and press on. Heptic's 2-0 start from him in the Search and Destroy. Obviously, you mentioned just before we got into it, you'd like to see him. He has the ability to take over in the Search and Destroys. And a 2-0 start's a good way to go.
And I mean, he's a player that will do his talking in the game. He doesn't really get involved with the trash talk across the rest of the players on his team. And he does it in body shots. That's how he gets his aggression through. He puts many bullets into other people's bodies after they're dead. But we're now going to see Drenga on the offense here. And they are also going to try and hit this towards an A potentially. Here, they're 4 stacking towards it. But it's going to be a massively mid-hit push here. We've seen this a few times today where teams just sprint through mid. And if it's not watched, it works really well. I've never seen it where someone actually watches that cross though. But look at this. The info is through. They're going to see IDK get that bomb. Heptix with some crisp shots. Tries to snap onto Makoof. Gets 2. Shakes his head as well after getting that second kill.
That's what I mean. Such a smart play call there from Project Vapor. They are just going to opt to try and fly through mid. T and Crumpets will take out Heptix on the way back round. Red has also fallen on the transition too. So 2-2 for both teams here. Bomb is going to be in the hands of Heffron as it stands at the minute. Going to possibly just have a bit of a stand to try to see if he can find any sort of information onto this Vapor roster. Rush opting to try and find through one. He's got a couple of members. He's got the help of Julian. Going to come through. Julian will bob and weave and take out the members of Drenga there. Good start from Julian as well.
As much as Julian is going to get the praise for getting both of those kills, I think the big shout has got to be Rush. He's got the info, he's shouldered them, and he's just laid down. He's played his life so brilliantly. They then focus on Julian inside this window. Rush comes back around the corner and helps Julian pick up the 2 kills.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, good teamwork out of Rush and from Julian there. Obviously, I'm sure the scrims have worked out quite well, and the communication, as we're told, Rush seems to be extremely hot on the comms. He'll be quite concise with it as well. And Julian, I'm sure, the heavy hitter over towards Project Vapor. 3-0 start from him so far now as well. This will be once again. We saw this in the first best of 5. We saw quite convincingly from Project Vapor. Managed to take the first sort of 2. The reverse sweep did then take place from Drenga, and seemingly we're on that same sort of script again.
And Heptix again, another kill. That's going to take him up to 5 in this S&D. He will be traded out by IDK, someone who, with that sub, he's going to get aggressive on the map, and they try to do a bit of a similar play to Project Vapor. Try and play through mid. They have hit round that B bomb site through that P5 hill and then towards mid. It's slightly different from Project Vapor, but it's now going to be a 3v2. The bomb is currently being planted at A. Hafron will pick one onto red and give a little bit as well.
He was indeed, and it's going to be Rush and it is going to be Julian, those 2 members that we did just see win that second round. It is going to be on them to claw through and bring Project Vapor to 3-0, unless Heffron and T and Crumpets have got anything to say about it. Bomb has been planted over towards A, still 30 seconds remaining. It is going to have to be a pretty quick retake from Drenga here. T and Crumpets will take out Rush. He's going to have to try and find out whereabouts Julian is. Julian will find one, 16 seconds remaining. He's going to have to try and work the time as best as what he can. Going to look towards the bomb. He's not seen him. He's going to chow towards him and just about manages to do so. Oh my gosh. Close. I don't know if he was trying to play the time, trying to be brave, but gosh, that was so close. Julian, you're trying to scare everybody in the room.
I don't know, maybe he looked at him. We saw the legs. We obviously have the beauty of X-ray and Cockcaster, but you can just about make out the legs there from behind the bomb. And maybe it was one of his teammates who was stressed commenting to him that you did see him on that bomb. You need to go and check it.
Oh God, I can't believe we've just nearly just seen that there. But I'm sure it was intended. I'm sure he didn't mean to potentially try to run away from there. Possibly 5-0 from Julian now. 3-0 in the Search and Destroy. This one again looking pretty easy for Project Vapor, isn't it?
Yeah, and the sad thing here at Drenga Esports, you've not really got that one player going. Even in maps they've lost, they've always had that one player that was really doing the utmost there to try and keep it going. But so far, look at this. It's a very quick B push here from Drenga Esports. They're going to try and get pushed up towards this mid door as well. Rush, I don't know if he knows exactly the comms are coming through, but he's playing as if he does.
That's what I mean. It'll be interesting to see how many First Blood Heptics had this weekend. He
Too
always
many.
seems to be that person on the Project Vapor roster that is going to be the member that will be involved in at least the first gunfight, 9 times out of 10 coming out with that kill at the same time as well. Rush has a couple of members of Drenga in and around him. Julian, 6-0 from him now. Did have one more, but managed just to skip away, but will be traded there by Makoof. 3 versus 2 here in favour of Project Vapor.
Oh, it's a huge kill there from Red, especially with the back and forth that these two ARs have been having with each other. It's now 1 versus 3. Makoof will be able to recoup the bomb, but with only 25 seconds left, this round is going to look tough, especially with Heptics following his blue dart. There we go. Great shots from Hep there, barely missing a bullet, and I think adding a few more after the kill had come through.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a tough search and destroy for the members of Drenga. We've not really seen this sort of punishment being sort of inflicted on them from Project Vapor. They are going to be 4-0 down in the search and destroy, but still plenty of time to be able to bring themselves back into it. Got to go for a sort of round by round basis now. Can't really afford to forward think as such, but Julian 6-1 from him did actually get taken off of there, but obviously a great start from him alongside Heptics again as well.
And I mean, Rush has literally seen in the first 4 rounds 2 people. He's got 1 kill and 1 death, so he's not really had to do too much. But if your team's 4-0 up, you've got 2 players, 7-2, 6-1. There's really not going to be too much for you to do on the map, and he's that bomb carry for this team. Typically, Julian's got it in this round, but we have seen him get 2 plants, and he's now got both weapons in hand as well. And look at this. This is just clinical, isn't it? This is the Project Vapor that all weekend long we have been seeing until they faced up against the Drenga Esports side.
Exactly that, and it's 4 versus 2 in favour of the Vapor members. It's going to be T and Crumpets opts to try and go upstairs, manages to find Heptics, going to try and bring the lives back into a sort of even sort of state. It looks like this bomb is going to be working its way into B bomb, sorry, quite quickly, and it is underway. Pretty much 30 seconds to try and deal with. 3 versus 2 in favour of Vapor here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough retake, especially in this side. There's so many places people could be sat. Red's able to get 1. Down to 22 health, but able to get away, and Hafron looks like he was just trying to go and hop the bomb. Smiles from the Drenga boys, and again, we saw this in that first time. They went 5-0 down in that first S&D, and that map number 2 in our first best of 5 today, and they didn't let the spirits damp them, and look what happened in the end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you say, it's a case of these boys are happy to be here. Red making sure the members of Drenga know that he's here as well. First time we've really heard him get loud this weekend on that 3 streak. That one was certainly his round, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, if those of you that might not have heard it, he was asked the question as to what he was doing. Why do you think he could do that in a 1 versus 3? Maybe thinking, maybe a bit of disrespect. You're not going to ninja defuse me in a 1 versus 3.
But 5-0 for Project Vapor here. This one pretty much is going to be wrapped up and sealed. As soon as I say that, Heffron will find Heptics, always involved in that first gunfight. Not the man that's going to come out on top of this one, but Makoof will find one onto Rush as well and let them know that he's still here, he still means business, but bomb looks like it's going to get planted at A.
But this is the question we ask, isn't it? When Project Vapor do decide to do this 3-4 through mid, if someone is playing towards that top heaven, what happens? Hep got picked off early, Rush then fell, and now Julian's fell to Hafron as well, and the bomb's been planted at A. Red, 1 versus 4. I mean, this would be one hell of a way to win the map, wouldn't it? There's the first. Door's been bust open. He hasn't got much ammo left in that AR, but he's going to find another weapon on the floor.
Only sort of 22 seconds as well. Probably just going to try and play for a little bit of information, try to build up that kill streak, going to try and probably run away. We have seen him throw himself off of the map, try and swim away a couple of times today in different occasions, but he's just going to see if any member is going to try and chow towards him. Not worth trying to give away that 4 streak at the minute, and it is going to be another round. It is going to be, the first round on the board for Drenga. 5-1. Any full sales on the way?
I mean, potentially, 1 round at a time, 1 brick by 1 brick at a time, and
all right,
that's the first brick.
Brick by brick, is it?
Brick by brick. But that's kind of what we want. Red, thinking about that streak, keeping a streak, but at the same time, there's not too much. Maybe he's playing for that RCXD. You can use that to your advantage. Typically, you don't see too many players using RCXD on red card because it's such a big map. You've got to drive quite a distance in the RCXD. But if he does get a couple more kills, the game's going to be over. So I don't think he was saving those streaks to try and get a Hellstorm.
No, it was probably just a case who just didn't want to get shouted out or something along those lines.
Stat pad in the KD.
Yeah, quite possibly. So Vapor aren't going to want to allow anything to happen this one. Here comes Red with another kill. He's got Julian also in the kill feed with him. Russ going to fly to another member, which is going to be Makoof. And within the first sort of 20 seconds or so,
here he is.
That is going to be the second map. It is 2-0 to Project Vapor, and seemingly we are on the same sort of script that we saw the first time. Control has been where Drenga have seemed to excel against this Project Vapor roster, and they are going to have to reverse sweep them once again, and to be able just to stay alive, and it will be on Vault where we could see it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, something really positive there, if you are a Project Vapor fan, is that Red was able to go 7-3. Now, he has struggled, particularly in SD during this event, and on the main stage today. He's had quite a few one-kill S&Ds on the main stage. You know, he's still in the grand finals. He came from that winners bracket. He's not going to be too annoyed about the team performance. But personally, with himself, I know having a chat with him earlier that he wants to get better and be better in these SD modes. We know this is the MVP from our last LAN event. He knows he should be doing better, and that S&D there proved he has still got it in him. He has not lost it. He just needs to refine that form, and at 2-0 up, we said it in the last one, but this time we really think they should be able to close this one out.
Yeah, it should be, but it starts with one, as they say, as if they can try and take this control. I don't think from what we've seen today, I don't know if Project Vapor have actually taken a control off of Drenga so far. I think they've won both of them when they came up against them, so that'll obviously work in their favour. It's a case of we're just going to have to try and see how the map unfolds, but it will be back onto Vault once again, obviously quite quickly. Project Vapor, well, we're in a position to take that, but it was Drenga that came out on top last time. But it's going to be once again interesting. We can't write them out because we've just seen the reverse sweep in the series before.
No, exactly, and we're going back to the exact same map that we saw in that last one. So they're going to have a little think, you know. Drenga particularly were very good at trying to get pushed up on that B point and get the points captured very quickly, very early on, get that pressure. Project Vapor, what they did brilliant was get that arc control, but sometimes they push for those spawns too heavies and get that spawn trap set up, and they weren't worrying about the point, and then the time just ran away.
And off to Vault we go. Abuser seeing the helicopter on top, and it knows that we're going to be off to Vault. Let's see how this control is going to pan out. Obviously, situations once again. Should Project Vapor take this control, they will be crowned champions of the LAN this weekend. Or should Drenga take it, we will be at least heading back to red card for the hard point. They haven't lost a control to Vapor so far this weekend, and I'm sure they're not going to want to start that now.
No, definitely not. You know, they've gone so far in this series. They've been the only team across the last couple of events to really push them in a grand final, and they don't want to let it go now. You know, they've put in 14 hours of Call of Duty gameplay to get to this point today. They're definitely going to want the win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it is going to be Drenga that are going to be on offense early doors. We are going to see Red and Rush getting involved early, and it will be Tea and Crumpets from the side of Drenga. They'll be the first one to find a kill. Heffron answering with another one of his own, and let's see how this one's going to pan out.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got Makoof trying to play towards that catwalk side of the map. You know, the B point is started to slowly be captured again. We said that this is the point that Drenga really done well on early. They got pushed out onto that B point. There's two players stacking it now. It's IDK and it is Heffron. The kills are going against the rest of the team on the other side of the map, though. But it'll be Makoof off spawn with some huge kills. But 3 players forwards, all down to TN Crumpets, our Katana Land 7 gamer tag. And he's just, oh, it's IDK, sorry. He's going to back away with his life.
Indeed, he is. That is going to be 2 ticks on that B point done by Drenga so far. They were going to try and touch that A point. Only a slither has actually been taken from them there. Seemingly everyone sort of spread across the map. It looks like it's going to be IDK that's the man that will take out Julian. On this B point, is going to have Heptix flying towards him. Hep on that 3 streak now. He is one that's going to start to get going. Has the ability to really try and drag this Vapor team through. The B point has successfully actually been taken there. I don't know how Vapor have actually let them slip through, but Julian will come through fine too, and Drenga will answer with 2 of their own at the same time.
That's a question we asked quite a lot in that first series, was how have Vapor let that happen? And it's that B point early on. They've now extended that clock by a minute. When you capture a point and control, the clock extends by a minute. It's now 1 minute 40. The lives are pretty even, which is going to be in Project Vapor's favour, but it just takes 3 kills against you, even maybe 4, and Drenga can start to stack that point if they've got the correct map position.
Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. Like you say, a minute and a half, fairly even lives. A little bit of a team deathmatch, probably to be expected from both teams here. Just try and get some sort of map position, see if they can find that all-important 4 kills. Rush will find one. He's got IDK just around the corner, but Red will come through and take out Tea and Crumpets. So it's going to be advantage to Project Vapor. It's a constant white feed for now. They have the members of Drenga backed up into spawn. Red and Julian up in there trying to take kills. Rush should be able to find another. He has let someone just slip past him. Tea and Crumpets will find 2 and be able to try and get some progression towards this A point. And IDK and Makoof also answering with ones of their own.
Yeah, now it's Project Vapor getting 7 kills in a row before they were shut down by Drenga, and particularly Tea and Crumpets in that round. He's now on a 3 streak of his own. IDK, the subdued. We saw 83 kills between these in the last time we saw this map play out in that first best of 5. It'll be interesting to see if it's going to be a similar story. I mean, IDK has to drop 13 that first round, but it's tough to drop 13 in the round of control. But we're going to keep seeing this pressure. It's now 6 lives to 5. The clock has been paused, so it's going to come down to lives here. Makoof and Drenga have got 2. There's 3 quick kills. The ticks are coming through. They are so close to capturing that A point. It's just Rush on the pitch. Will fall.
He's going to try and fly through. Cat Julian off the top rope. IDK finds 2. And that will be the first round to Drenga. And this is how they wanted to sort of reply early doors. They were backed up into spawn a little bit. A few lives taken off them quite quickly. But I think it was Tea and Crumpets manages to find 2. Get his way off towards Cat and ultimately drags the members of Drenga with him. And IDK, like he has been doing all evening, finds 2 to shut off the Project Vapor barrage.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what Drenga Esports needs. You know, that map number 1 wasn't close. That map number 2 wasn't close either. So they really needed that first round just to kind of remind Project Vapor they are still here to play in this series. You know, they are the ones that have taken them to a map 5 twice. And let's hope for a 3rd time for their sake.
Yeah, quite possibly. We mentioned this earlier on. In comes that sort of vault B point progression once again. They're going to try and get as much time on this B point done as quick as what they can. Julian will find 1. Julian will find 2. And IDK will find Rush on the way through Vault. It's seemingly he's going to be the only member for Drenga out of time at the minute. Tea and Crumpets finding a kill on Heptis by me to the car, but Julian is here to shoot. He's here to play, and he's on a 3 streak, just taken off it by Tea and Crumpets.
And as much as Project Vapor did drop this map in the last series, one thing they did superbly well was to try and get towards those arc spawns. And Rush picking up 2, looking for more. It's just going to back away though. 2 ticks are coming through at B again. They might need to start thinking about maybe just getting an A point, delaying Drenga from getting any more momentum going in this round, stopping the kills from coming through. And Heptix there opening up with 1 through mid, and you can see by Heptix using a sub, that's probably going to give you the information that they are going to be playing towards this A point, because he is one of the ALs for their team and he's not going to be pulling out a 3rd sub to capture B.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And progression over towards this B point. It is going to be Julian that's over there all by himself. The members of Drenga spawning out towards this P4 side, so they're probably maybe not going to be able to manage to get to Julian just in time. He is going to collect all 3 ticks on that B point. 1 has been done on a minute and 52, 18 lives actually playing for each other now. This could go either way.
Yeah, and you've got Rush now pushed out into that open, so he would have forced the spawns come through from P4 building, but he does fall as soon as I started to make that statement and observation. But here we go, Project Vapor, 3 clean kills, 1 tick is already been progressed to A. There are 3 players on that point, and there's 1 pushed out in that lobby area as well. It's going to need to be a very quick and clean break from Drenga here if they want to stay alive in this round. But the tick is getting closer and closer. Hafron tried to contest, but he's going to fall. Julian shoots him in the back. There's 3 kills, and the 4th Drenga player couldn't quite get there in time, Joel.
That's important as well. They've managed to take all 6 ticks there as well. They had that sort of ability. They managed to get a couple of dead. They were in and around time, so they managed to jump on straight away. I think it was only one of the members of Drenga that was up in and around Cat. Heffron did find the kill, but was then traded, and ultimately they did then manage to close out that round. 1 apiece at the minute. Nothing going to be able to split them as it stands. Heptix 12 and 11. He's getting involved. He's getting the engagement, but someone over on that Vapor side, Julian, is having a fantastic control.
Yeah, it's one of those things that actually, when we see the scoreboard pull back up, there's not like that IDK performance that we saw. He had 22 kills off this file. I know Julian has slightly more kills than the rest of the team, but it's a very team effort from both of these sides here, and that is shown by the score. 1 apiece now, but Heptix on a 4 spree. It'll be interesting to see if he's pulled that AR back out now to hold this defense, and what's going to happen here. It's going to be a very similar story. They're going to try to slide through B. Is Hafron's going to throw that nade towards that B van to try and blow it up and try and get the pick.
It is going to be Rush, it is going to be Julian. They are going to find a couple of kills. IDK will answer. Rush will find a 2 and a 3 piece from Rush there. A chance to have the members of Drenga backed up into spawn. It is going to be 10 non-traded kills in favour of Project Vapor, and this is starting to look a little bit ugly for a short period of time. But Makoof is out. He's going to be able to try and pick off a couple of members. He is going to have Hep on the way out of spawn. It's going to be an interesting kill. He's going to get pushed back in. It's now T and Crumpet's turn to have a go.
Heptix has absolutely ripped Makoof from that car heady there. And look at this. Look at the scoreboard there. Rush is on a 5. Make that a 6 spree. He hasn't screamed for that 1 kill, so does it really count? Julian's got 4. Rush is still going. He will finally be shut down by his sub-opponent IDK, who, again, this Drenga side are really going to need to keep going here. They're on the offensive side, you know. It is technically in control, you know, the least favoured side. You want to be winning your defences, but we have seen 2 offense wins here. We saw a lot of offense wins in the last round, the last map as well.
Yeah, so progression was slowly starting to make its way on towards B. 16.5 seconds roughly around for Drenga to be able to try and extend this one out. 21 lives, playing 18. So for all of those spawn kills, it's not really had too much of an impact on this round. But Heffron and Makoof, and a couple of love taps from Makoof after that one, trying to get into the head of Red. They are going to make this progression towards B, unless Heptix has got anything to say about it. It is due to be about done. Red going to fly towards it, not going to manage to do so. That is going to be 4 dead. It's going to be on Heptix to try and start to lead the way with the help, of Julian in and around this A point.
And that is crucial that Drenga were able to finish off that final tick before any more lives were lost, because there was only 15 seconds left on that clock before the round was over. And here we go, the kills. They've been able to chain it pretty well towards this A point now. The lives are tied up, and that's a big pick onto Heptix there. The two teammates there, team shooting. T and Crumpets on a 6 spree, pushed out this lobby area. He's going to be looking for more players. He's predicted it right. He's on a 7 streak now, shutting down everyone that walks in his way.
It was, and like you say, remember towards the start of this round, it was Drenga that were going to be backed up in towards their spawn. They do have, I was just about to say, the life advantage. It is now going to be just a +1 in their favour. They are going to try and get their weight around this B point. It is only just going to be IDK, the only member out of spawn at the minute. It's going to be Red going to have to try and deal with quite a few members of this Drenga roster trying to fly towards him. B point already done, so it's going to be a bit of a foot race in towards A. 30 seconds, 8 lives playing each.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit like a slightly 2 life S&D, isn't it, between these 2 sides here? But that quick 3 there from Project Vapor is really going to change the complexity of the rest of this round. Heffron, though, is able to at least get 1, and he's going to be key in this round because he is the closest player towards that point. He is in the other opposition spawn. If he falls, and he has, it is going to be a tough game now. 2 versus 6 in lives, and I think all the answers point towards Project Vapor here. Hep on a 5 spree to end things off. Rush as well, sliding across the catwalk to get our final kill. And we're going to see Project Vapor 1 round away again from the championship.
That's what I mean, and this one just potentially seems to have a little bit of a different feel about it, but that's not to say that Drenga can't pull themselves back out of the fire and then get themselves going in this control. It just seemed to be that those sort of big moments went in favour of Project Vapor there, and it's always Rush, it's always Julian involved in the big gunfights. Obviously, we did see T and Crumpets go on quite a big streak there as well, but speaking of streaks, Hep's on another 5.
Yeah, and it's kind of the slaying power again with the Project Vapor team. They just need some players to turn up and really try and take over the game, and they've taken it in turns really across this map, haven't they? Julian, Rush and Hep have all had turns or going on some of those streaks, and on the other side of things, T and Crumpets as well in that round was able to get on a 7 or 8 streak and really help his side, and he's already got 2 in the start of our 4th round.
Yeah, good start from him so far. Just a case of trying to work out. Rush will find IDK through Top Cat. Will manage to take him out. 28. Rush finds 2. He's going to start to try and build on that 4 streak that he's got at the minute. He's going to make it a 5. He's going to try and build it, see if he can try and work his way over towards that Hellstorm. Heffron's going to have a couple of members of Project Vapor to try and deal with. Progression coming through into this A point quite quickly. Keep your eyes on Julian. He's trying to see if anyone's going to try and go in and around this B point. Not going to do so. He's going to opt to try and fly in and around Cat. Red will find 2 of his own. It's going to be good progression. Early ticks coming in favour of Project Vapor here. Nearly getting towards that second one done on this A point. And they are going to be sort of backed up to spawn a little bit. A couple of members coming through mid. And an opportunity for, if they can get this one done, IDK with another 2.
And there's a third as well. Something we mentioned earlier, the Project Vapor, they get 3 kills, they get control of that A point, but what happens is they get a little bit too aggressive. There's only 1 player left on that point, they all push up, and as we just heard, IDK was able to take 3 of them down, and now no more progression is happening on A just yet, but Red shutting down Makoof there is going to change that.
That's what I mean. That's a big 3 kills there. It is going to be quite a few members coming off of spawn. It's only going to be T and Crumpets, the person that can find Rush going through Vault. They were going to try and work their way to B early doors, but A is going to be done. 1.5 minutes to try and play with. 15 lives playing 14. Nothing really to split them. How important is Julian going to be over towards this P4? They know they've got to go and try and find him. They've got Heffron looking for him. They've got Makoof looking for him. He's going to say, you know what? I'm going to sit up here. You come and find me. I'm going to stop you from getting out, and I'm going to trust my boys to get the kills.
Yeah, we've seen Hefty swap back to that AR to try and get control of this B street. You know, it is a very long-range site for the most part. If you want to play close quarters with that sub, exactly like Rush has done there, you're going to be coming out from that vault. You're going to be playing through mid. The first tick has now come through for Vapor. They are 2 ticks away from becoming your champions at this event, Joel.
They are indeed, and like you say, that contest is coming through. Big Red with a big 2-piece to try and keep the members of Project Vapor alive. They're going to be flying through this time, getting them done. Drenga not going to be anywhere near it. A quick 3-0 in the second best of 5. Project Vapor are going to be your ES Hub Summer Showdown champions. And what a series that was from them. The adversity that they felt through that first best of 5 did not correlate into this second one whatsoever. We saw the team that we expected to see. We saw the big names, the heavy hitters coming out on top, and we are seeing a couple of members, especially Rush, get that first chip in the UK lands. But I tell you what a difference of series we've just seen there.
I mean, yeah, it just shows that dominance that we've seen across the whole title this year. This is our 3rd local event, the 3rd time that core 3 have turned up, and the 3rd time they are walking away. And, you know, commiserations to Drenga, but I know the players going to be more than happy with their performance. There were some real key moments across all of the players there. Every single player on that Drenga side have really proved their worth here this weekend.
No, absolutely. And like you say, it's good to see the members all walking over, shaking hands after that. It looks like it's just going to be a case of getting stuff ready. We will be getting the ceremony as such underway with crowning Project Vapor your Summer Showdown champions. Any highlights from you so far this weekend, mate?
Oh, there's loads, isn't there? I mean, Makoof just yesterday, 1v4.
Yeah.
He had that 1v4. We had Hep back-to-back aces in S&D, that 13 streak. You had Amrox, our underdogs of the event, upsetting Nathan Parker's team, that Annex Black team, making them exit at the top 12, which no one expected coming into the event that C3 would be exiting at the top 12.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, it's been a fantastic weekend. Obviously, a massive credit to all the people that have made this event come together. You see myself, Spud and Connor, and a couple of the students on the camera, and all of the players. But there's a hell of a lot more work that goes on behind the scenes just to get this event up and running. And it's a case of it's worked quite seamlessly throughout this weekend. They've managed to get stuff done quite quickly, quite promptly, and I tell you what, it's been such an enjoyable weekend, hasn't it?
And it has. It's been my first one. It's been a pleasure to step alongside you as well, and I'm not quite as tall as Spud, so slightly different, but I've just looked at the Twitch chat as well, and they've said 3 letters that is very important that we've almost forgotten.
What's that?
MVP, not Jackson.
Interesting. I think we will, for me, I think it's going to have to be, I'm going to go with Rush. I think he was the one that's added a different sort of dynamic to this roster. I think he'll be the one that will be sort of stand out alongside the rest of the others as well.
And I'm just going to do this to be very different. I'm going to say Heptics. Now, the grand finals, I would agree that Rush was probably the difference maker between these two sides, but across the entire weekend, Hep, not only in-game, but also with the communications, was the key for this team.
Exactly that, and by the looks of it, we are going to be pretty much ready to get this award ceremony underway, so we will pass you back to the guys on the desk who will see us through. It's been great from myself and Connor, and we'll hopefully see you guys at another UK LAN.
Thank you very much. What a way to end it all. Honestly, I think that couldn't have gone any better. As you can see, we have Project Vapor here on the stage. Huge congratulations. I feel like just as a whole, we need to give them a massive round of applause for their performance. Come on, guys. Like, that was a show and a half. So, obviously, I will let you give them their trophies, give them what they deserve.
Yeah. Congrats.
So, obviously, every single one of them, Rush, Heptix, Julian, and Red, performed so incredibly throughout. Basically the whole weekend. They kind of had a reputation coming into this, like, okay, they're stomping everyone, and then maybe they just at the end they gave us a little moment. So we'll let you guys have your moment. Go on, do a big trophy lift. Come on, do something dramatic.
Trophy lift.
Go on, do it. Go on. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. I'll let you go enjoy the rest of the day. Like, what? There's 20 minutes left of the day. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll let you guys
enjoy your night. You fully deserved it. Two in a row, that's for a lot of you guys. Yeah. Well, at least in this arena, that's 2 in a row, and you've done really well. You've fully deserved this, and to grind out to like midnight, that's really impressive work, and congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
MVP.
yeah. You have to give your MVP
this was
out.
a heated discussion between a few of us. I had a few names in mind, and I kind of wanted to give it to a winning team member. I had a few names on the opposite side as well. IDK was one that really came to mind, especially in the first series. But in total, like, I kind of think it has to be Julian again, because that grand final was just a level above. And we said coming into it, like, you just need that elevated level. And yeah, Julian, MVP. Yeah, Julian MVP.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that was the thought plan coming into it, but again, my thought process was it was so even between the lot of you, like throughout the tournament. Heptix played really well, but that grand final, like 41 kills in that first map on the first series, and then 30 kills on the first map in the second series, it kind of just elevated the team a bit and reset the momentum after what was kind of a heartbreaking series loss at the first part of the grand finals. So,
to be fair, let's be real, all of you deserve it. But thank you. We'll let you get off because we're about to end the show as we need to. But yeah, how have you found that, Ian?
it was a really good event. I think this sliding through. Yeah, I think this was a really good event. I think the level of competition was a lot higher. No, I'm not discounting a lot of teams from the last event, but this summer series, like, we had such a elevated level of tournament. We wasn't expecting Drengar to be this good. We saw a lot of good players coming in from Annex, but both Annex sides, both Mistaken sides. Pink Panthers also had a little bit of a run as well. I think they were really impressive. But again, just that level above.
Yeah.
I've been saying it this entire tournament. Vapor are just that, like, it's a star factor. It's an MVP factor that Drengar didn't quite have. They nearly found it with IDK, like at map 4 especially. I don't think we have a replay for it, but we'll see that during the highlights package. But what I mean, like map 4, when IDK got that kill onto Heptix, you could kind of see the mentals break a little bit for Vapor, and that's why I think they lost map 5. We went into that reset. For them to have a player like Julian to step up, Julian and Rush especially coming in as a new player to the lineup, but have a player like Julian to step up and kind of provide an MVP performance after losing a heartbreaking series to go into a bracket reset and make the entire tournament. Like, because we all sat in the prod room thinking, this is going all 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
We kind of feared that a little bit. For them to dominate the way they did after being beaten for the first time in a while, I think that's really impressive, and I think that's the reason why I've given Julie the MVP, despite the fact that maybe a Heptix or an IDK might have deserved it a little bit more.
Yeah, but unfortunately for everyone, that is going to be the end of the show. You know, huge congratulations to Project Vapor, Rush, Heptix, Julian, Red. All of you performed brilliantly. And honestly, every single team that competed really brought an energy, really brought things that... It was great. It was great to watch. And as someone who's new to Call of Duty, it was so good to welcome into it. But obviously, we need some thanks coming out of the way. So I want to give a big thank you to all of the production crew for putting on this event. Thank you to all the casters. And obviously, thank you, Ian. You've been by my side this whole event. Thank you to Katana Gaming. Thank you to the Esports Hub. And to basically thank you for everyone watching and getting involved. It's really what makes these events so special. And, you know, hopefully we'll see you at the next one. I've been your host, Quino, and that has been the Esports Hub Summer Showdown. Bye, Esports.
What do you expect me to say? You know that I will always find a way to fuck up everything that we ever made. Some people change and some people don't. Don't give it another shot. We've had enough, I think it's time to stop. I fucked up everything we ever made. Some people change, but you know I won't. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, forgive me, you have to find a way. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, believe me, you have to run away. What you expect me to do? Push you away when we're both feeling blue. No lies can help with what you're going through. Some things can change, but you know it won't. Why do we wait for the worst? Everyone knows that the ending is cursed. This ship is sinking, so just say the words. Some people change, but you know I won't. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, forgive me, you have to find a way. Maria, I wanna make everything okay. Don't trust me, believe me, you have to run away. It's never better when mistakes are made again. You know we're not the same. Hurting will break the chains. It's never better when mistakes are made again. There's poisons in my veins. The liars are all the same. It's never better when mistakes are made again. You know we're not the same. Hurting will break the chains. It's never better when mistakes are made again. There's poisons in my veins. Liars are all the same.
The night is young, our memories echo inside me. This time is slowly ticking away. I miss the way that we were in harmony. I'm having trouble letting go. I close my